There we go. Now let's give it a few seconds. And
the recording has started.
All right, everybody. Today is July 17th. Monday, July 24th, 2017. It's 17:02 Pacific time, or 5:02 p.m. on Pacific Standard Time. And due to our new tradition, here is Red Skelton.
Well, I remember a teacher that I had. Now, I went through the 7th grade. I went to the 7th grade. I left home when I was 10 years old because I was hungry. And I used to, this is true. I work in the summer and I go to school in the winter. But I had this one teacher. He was the principal of the Harrison School in Vincennes, Indiana. To me, this was the greatest teacher, a real sage of my time, anyhow. He had such wisdom. And we were all reciting the Pledge of Allegiance one day. And he walked over, this little old teacher. Mr. Laswell was his name. Mr. Laswell. He says, he says, I've been listening to you boys and girls recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester. And it seems as though it's becoming monotonous to you. If I may I recite it and try to explain to you the meaning of each word. I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge, dedicate all of my worldly goods to give without self-pity, allegiance, my love and my devotion to the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom. Wherever she waves, there's respect, because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts freedom is everybody's job. United. That means that we have all come together. States, individual communities that have united into 48 great states. 48 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose. All divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common purpose. And that's love for country. And to the republic, a state in which sovereign power is invested in representatives chosen by the people to govern. And government is the people. And it's from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of power to live one's own life without threats, fear, or some sort of retaliation. And justice, the principle or qualities of dealing fairly with others. For all, which means, boys and girls, it's as much your country as it is mine. And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
All right, you're listening to the disclaimers by Davidlee and Edward Johnston. Go ahead and take it away, Ed.
Thank you. I would like to thank everybody for joining us. Dave and I are not attorneys. We're not lawyers. We're not anybody basically in the judicial capacity. We're lawful bloodline Americans. People go, well, what's the difference between a lawful bloodline American? I was born here. That means I'm a citizen. Well, yeah, you are a citizen, but that means you're not an American. That's under the 14th Amendment. If people would actually read what's going on compared to the fantasy they live and be taught. And I'll be blunt. That's like the fantasy of the Bible. Okay? Because you guys, a lot of people go, oh, the Bible is the law. Well, when you go to court, that black robe man in that suit of that courthouse is the black robe pope of your Bible. Of course, you all know about the black robe pope in the King James Bible, and that's who it is. You cannot change the structure of history. You cannot change the facts of the way it was written. You cannot change the structure of what people think. Okay? Because we've been invaded in this country. It doesn't matter what the hell country you came from 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 years ago. And we're talking a minimum of 100 years. They go by 20 years for each generation born. If you're not for more generations, that means you are legal, not lawful. And that is proven, and I put it in my own instruments, and that's been proven by the Supreme Court and Congress. And it's even written going all the way back to 1775 in the original structures of the paperwork, but people don't want to read it. Now, immigration, when they come here, is privileged. And I mean privileged. They don't have rights. They have privileges. And until people start comprehending this and we stop living under religious democracy, because remember, democracy is religion. Learn it, read it, produce it, prove me wrong. Now, nobody's been able to prove me wrong on any of my filings, including when I filed on the Pope's soul and everything else. Nobody has been able to prove me wrong. Oregon State House, Congress, nobody. All right? And I do stand by my words. I do stand by them. I have produced and proven my words. That is a fact, and that's the thing, is that, you have a right to travel, and I want to get into that one because I've seen this before. I just started to hear about conversations on this coming up, but I haven't verified it yet, and I already got a salmon lure in my lip on something else stupid earlier, so I haven't verified it, but I heard that this was coming, and if it is true, in Arizona Driver's Manual today, it says in it, and I got to verify it, the news source, because sometimes we don't know the news source, even though sometimes it could be reliable, as we claim. But in some of the state handbooks, and it's not just Arizona, I heard, that they're putting paragraphs in it, don't get shot by police, and telling people that if you don't do what a police officer says, they can shoot you on sight. So in other words, if you're not religiously what a pastor or minister tells you, if you don't do what you're told, you are to be executed. And actually, I've been putting that up. That actually is, every state passed the bill, Congress passed the bill for every Christian to be murdered. Because if you do real history, Christians were the foundation of Roman Catholic Church and there's Satanism. And that's a true fact. You go prove me wrong. I'm getting tired of people trying to tell me that, oh, Ed, you don't understand this, or Jesus is going to come after you and we condemn you for not believing in the Bible. Well, condemn me. And they go, well, you're going to go to hell. Well, if I go to hell and I become the devil, just remember, I'm coming back. I'm coming back to control the world. Okay? Because, otherwise, it's all bullshit. That's like Disneyland. That's like TV sets. It's all fantasy for our entertainment. All right? When you go out in the woods and live in the real woods, that's not entertainment. Okay? You have to go cut your wood. You have to go get your food. You have to go provide for yourself. And if you don't do that, you don't eat. You have no shelter. And that's the point that most people do not conversation, on that, And it's like, we got one guy that would like to get brought in, and I'll bring you in after we get done here, so I'll bring your name in and we'll get you in. But anyhow, this is the one thing I've been going around and around with several people. We got these transgender people running around trying to say, oh, we have rights to the bathrooms. Excuse me, you're born man or woman. Quit living in fantasy world. All right? If you want to be a fruitcake, all right, be a fruitcake. Okay? And that's not, I'm calling you names if you're calling it that way. But see, also, too, people. I'm going to get into why I'm saying this, and I want to see how many people really have intelligence. All right? The Constitution is the law of the land, not any religion, and sure to hell the Bible ain't. And even when you heard from Red Skelton, God was brought in 1969 into the music structure. Of course, that was brought in somewhat of the government in the 1950s. It was put in the money back in 1933. Prior to that, and the old money, when you go back in the 1870s, it was never on any money. God was a mind control by the Vatican to control you. And that's the one thing that is a fact.
I can take you there.
Now, people do not comprehend that the fact is to control your thinking, to control your mind, to control your feelings, including with your children. Okay? You don't have control over your children. Most of you don't. Most of you don't. You put them in front of a TV set. The TV controls your kids. TV controls their mind, their emotions, thinking.
All participants are muted.
Thank you. That is the one thing. It controls everything. There is none of this fantasy, and people go, oh, it doesn't. It does too. It controls everything. It controls people's mind, on even abortion. All right? A parasite, that isn't a woman. Yeah, it's a parasite. It's a blood-sucking parasite when it starts developing. Let's tell the truth here. They wrote it, we quote it. Where's the honesty? It's all about being honorable and honesty. Okay? They wrote it, we quote it. That is a statement. Dave and I have both quoted this on the air several times. And I want to get into that because a child, when it's in development stage, is a parasite. Now, I am entitled to my opinion. My opinion. I don't believe a woman should have an abortion until she's after 3 months old. But I don't have a right to tell a woman what to do with her body, period. Nor do you. No man or woman has a right to tell anyone to do with their body, period. End of story. Because you're telling me if you have a right to tell a woman even after 3 months she can't have an abortion and it's her, not her body, it becomes the people's body and it's God's body. No, it's Mother Earth's body. Mother has that body. Mother controls that body. Mother brings in life. The Great Spirit, man, is part of that life, but Mother carries it. Mother brings it in. Mother feeds it. It's a parasite. Mother feeds it. Let's be realistic. So if we don't honor Mother, we have no honor. All we do is lie, cheat, and steal. By everything today. A child, an individual, including born alive infant. And believe me, it even says in your Bible, not mine, because I don't go by that book. And believe me, I know this, being a registered minister and all the other crap. But in your Bible, it even says, until a child sees the light, it is not born. That is a fact. Read the Bible. Read what it says. The original Bible, not what the people have changed it, including, what do they call that? 13. I'll get that, remember here in a minute. Romans 13. Romans 13 says, and this is the thing what happened in the floods in the tornadoes and everything over in the east and west coast and Louisiana. Oh, God says this to the ministers, so you do what you say. And if you want to go out at night, you're not supposed to do that. You're not free. We tell you what's going on. In determining the meaning of Act of Congress. Remember, Congress is the federal British government of your Bible. Look it up. Learn it. Or of any ruling, regulation, or interpretation of various administrative bureaus or agencies of the United States in words, person, human being, child, an individual, but person is an inanimate object by Black Law Dictionary. So you got to learn how they do the legal lawful thing and twist it together to confuse you. Shall include every infant member species Homo sapiens who is born alive at the stage of development. Oh, wait a minute. You're not in development until you're born alive. Oh, what a concept. As use of this section, term born alive, which respect to a member of the species, Homo sapiens, means the complete extraction from his or her of that member. And that means because of Title 7, 136, Section D says we're all animals, and there are some animals in the world that basically bear children. I think they're seahorses. Is learning the structure. Now, man, Homo sapiens don't, but we're getting convinced of that by being brainwashed by the double people that want to do this. I don't care what you want to do in your life, but like some of these people that have decided that child at 10 through 15, 17 years old can go through development stages of transsexual gender changes is bullshit. I believe it should be straight across the board. A child cannot even be considered that until they're 18 years old. And should not even have it done until they're 21. Because a child does not know its mind. Most children, I would say, 65% of the children today don't even know their mind even after they're 18. I call them children because they don't know their mind. And that means that the such development as such extraction breathes with has a beating heart, pulsation of the umbilical cord, or definite movement of voluntary muscles. That means not electrocuted, not shocked, not massaged, not waking it up. Of course, I believe in something like that, when it comes out, you got to keep it alive if that's what needs to be done. And that is up to the child living being at that time. You can't sit there and try to create life for something else. Regardless of whether the umbilical cord has been cut or not. Okay, this is the one point that is coming to the truth of reality. Ron Paul and all these guys going, oh, you got to stop Roe versus Wade. Come on, people. When are you going to grow up and be an adult? Literally. When are you going to be an adult? Because the bottom line comes down to is they got us arguing why on the West Coast they're getting ready to start shooting us in our home for our guns. They just passed a bill in Oregon for the cops to come in your home and murder you. Straight across the board, murder you. Doesn't matter if you have a gun in your home or not. And that goes to your Christian Bible bullshit that says it in it when they passed that by the Vatican through the Congress in 2000. And the first stage of that was done by William Jefferson Clinton in 1994. But see, you guys don't read this stuff. I do. They wrote it, we quote it. I do the research. I bring it out. I don't have time to sit there and go through fantasies. I don't watch fantasy TV. I don't sit there and go watch sports because sports is a joke. I used to be a very heavy participant in sports growing up until the mid-'70s when it went commercialized. Literally, I saw the structure of the devil and I said, what the hell are you doing being part of this crap? Because once it went commercialized, it wasn't real anymore. It had nothing for the people. Never had anything for the people. It had nothing for the people when it went commercialized. It was all about profits and gain. As the Bible, your Bible, truly says, the root of all evil is money. Why don't you read it sometime? The love of money was changed in the Bible, and that didn't come in realistically until the 1945 new edition that they put out became the love of money. And I remember I grew up around Roman Catholic Church ministers and all this stuff. I watched the changes on this stuff. Literally. And it's disturbing when people sit there and don't comprehend, they don't read, they don't care about what they're reading, they don't want to educate themselves or their children, or they decide to go, oh, well, my belief says that I should not do that. The First Amendment clearly states freedom from religion. Also, too, in the Constitution, it says we shall not have anything to do with the British government. Oh, wait a minute. That's the Bible. Hello? What a concept. Ooh, never thought about that before. Have you? That is the Bible. Wake up. Okay? This is the point that we got to come to conclusions here and realistic points, because all we're going to do is waste life. Waste time here. I've been watching this shit for 30 years of my life. I've been going after people, including like with the structure with writing off your bills and stuff. And we're working on that. We're getting closer on it now. Okay, but I keep watching all these people that says, oh, I can write your bills off, but you're going to charge you $500 to do it. And every time I've seen when people do it, they get in the damn arrested or play these games. You know, I'm waiting for some man or woman who is actually honorable. I mean, I've even invited many of them on the talk show. I've invited them to walk me through and prove it. You know, even this one that has a video that's all over the internet that I just got sent again to me. It's like the 40th time I've got sent this since the beginning of the year, with Dr. D or whatever her name is this week. She's on Facebook. I've asked her to come on the show to prove what she's talking about. And I've asked many people, even the people that were involved in the Continental Marshals and the Continental Sheriffs, the Continental Judges, and all I hear is wind from these people. Now, I know what I've been filing in court is going through. I know what I've aided and suggested to people that I've sent them information, and some of these people, what they filed, they win their court cases. They're winning. It's not where you're going to be sitting on it and everybody's going, well, how come this doesn't happen and how come we don't hear about it? You don't sit on the street corner and waving your hand and say, hello, I'm a target here. You know, you got to be smarter than the bear when you're bear hunting. You know, that's the whole point. Educating has a major part called bloodline, knowing what your bloodline is. If you do not know your bloodline, learn it. You know, I've been talking to people going, you know, well, I'm an immigrant and I have rights. No, you don't. And if you are first or second, third, fourth, fifth, fourth generation, me and Dave wrote up the instrument that's on our United States for America Republic Elected Public Servants Oversight. It's called the Constitution Structure. Well, we served Judge Scalia before he was assassinated. Oh, yeah, he was murdered. There ain't no joke about that one. And it's interesting because 3 hours before he was found dead with a pillow over his face, which I thought was interesting. How do you suffocate yourself? You know, it was all in the media at first how Obama visited him, and then all of a sudden a lot of structure disappeared. I tried to save the videotape because they actually had a videotape of somebody that was leaving the Texas ranch, because they actually have videotapes out there of the public servants and all this. You know, and so they were trying to go after it, and, you know, the Democrats keep threatening people all the time. And, of course, I know I get threatened myself, you know, and I always get frustrated when people say, oh, I'll stand behind you, I'll do this, I'll do that, and I'm always one there standing. At least I'm glad I'm still here, and I'm doing this, and I'm not going to change. They know that. I know that. Okay? And the point is, what do you know? What do you believe? What is your faith? My faith is the Constitution, is my Bible, is my religion, my right to religion. That's what religion is about, my right. Racism is religious point of view. Racism is going against my Bible. My Bible is the Great Spirit, the Constitution, Mother Earth, and the Creator. I don't go by with the structure that people want us to go by, to be brainwashed. Remember, all that foreign stuff came from foreign countries that invaded. And then you'll hear people going, oh, well, the Indians were native, they came from Asia, and so they don't have rights. You know, that's the one thing. Our Supreme Court made these decisions by rational thinking. And if you don't like our country, get the hell out. You're not welcomed. We don't want your parades. And I'm going to hit on the LGBT, whatever you want to call it. If you're gay or lesbian, Write a contract between the two of you. Keep it in your own bedroom. Respect one another. Really, respect one another. If you don't want respect and honor, respect one another. Keep it between you. You're out there on the street corner doing this stuff, and then you wonder why you get these religious Christians out there beating your ass because you're having your rights. Well, and they're saying, I have a right. That's like the lady that sat there and said, I wasn't going to get a marriage certificate to these guys who got married, and what she has no right to do in her public servant job. Public servants are not allowed to have religious rights on the job. They work for we the people. So, if you want to register your child and yourself with the state and you're saying you're not responsible and you cannot be responsible for your children, you cannot be responsible for your assets, that you need somebody else to hold your hand like a little child, a little baby boy and girl, then that is your Constitution rights. Okay? The Constitution gives you rights, not privileges. And if you really read it, because the 1871 structure, if people go, oh, the 14th Amendment destroyed and did this, the 14th Amendment, if you actually read the decision, stated very clearly that if you are a citizen, you are a British subject. Also, too, it states in Executive Order 2040, if you are a national or citizen, you are an enemy of the country. And people say, well, citizen, they used to write it. Citizen back in 1700 was the same thing in England as it was here. They knew it, but they had respect for one another. There is no respect and honor today. So wake up. Anybody who's religious, who believes in the Bible, has no respect and honor. They lie, cheat, and steal. They lie to their children going, oh, Christmas time. Okay, Halloween, Satanic Day, look it up. Easter, Satanic Day, look it up. Well, that's when Jesus was born. Well, Hebrew language is no J, and they actually go back in the structure. Now they come out with a Bible says there was no Jesus, and the Vatican's flipping out, and I got people going, oh, you can't do this, and you can't say that, Ed. And it's like, people, read what I put up on my wall, all around what I've been posting up. Okay, the federal law came out, and they bought 30,000 beheading machines, guillotines, to behead the devil people called Christians. The Senate and House of every state passed it. The Senate of Congress passed it. So if you're claiming to be a citizen or religious, and that goes back to the 12th century, you are the devil people. And remember, if you actually go read the Treaty of 1213, the beginning of time, the devil's real contract with the Pope, and the devil's contract that was done with King John and the Pope. I can't remember the Pope. If Dave's on, we'll get that if he remembers it, because Dave knows the Pope's name. The Pope had no heirs to pass anything down. King John did. People say, oh, the Constitution doesn't affect me. Well, Dave's bloodline goes back to the Constitution. Mine doesn't quite go that far that I know of, but I know it goes back past the Civil War, and I know it goes further back than that. And so this is the point that is protecting your bloodline. I will have the other templates up on the structure here shortly, dealing with the medical stuff, because I do that. I've done that with several families, a few dozen people that I've written different examples for that have gone through. Eventually I'm working one, so that way when the hospitals do this, you go in, you serve the hospital, the board, and you stay out of it. And that means you're 100% liable. You cannot hold the doctor liable or the nurse liable. Okay? After you leave the hospital, there's no liability. You want it, it's working, granted, so you can't complain after you leave. Okay? Unless you can prove real medical malpractice. If you can't prove it, you can't go by the fantasy of hearing by democracy. It's called facts, people. Nothing but the facts. Joe Friday used to say that on a TV show. Nothing but the facts, ma'am, just the facts. That's what a court has to go by. Just the facts. The jury has to go by the facts only. They cannot go by hearsay evidence. That's what they're doing today. We got to get our courts back. Now, if you read the letter I put out, and if you want the letter that I put out, and I wrote the whole structure on the police department because I used to be in the industry, rent-a-cops and police officers and sheriff department employees, not the sheriff himself, are all rent-a-cops. They have no lawful authority whatsoever. They have legal authority if you're registered with the state. See, this is how they get away with it. So it's learning how to talk to your public officials. And like the guy from several law schools out there, and there's many videos that I put up, they tell you, don't talk to a cop, period. Never talk to a cop. They're going to tell you, oh, well, you need an attorney. There is no law that says you need an attorney. They put in 1947 administrative rule, but that's not a law. You don't need an attorney. Okay? You can represent yourself. They lie, cheat, and steal. Remember, these men and women lie, cheat, and steal. If it's your mother, brother, and sister in the industry, that's exactly what they do. Lie, cheat, and steal. So it's time to start being honorable to yourselves, protecting your bloodline, number 2, looking at how to preserve this country and stop protecting domestic terrorists. You know, it's like in the state of Oregon, the House and Senate passes, oh, we're going to give all these immigrants rights in the state of Oregon. We're going to give them birth certificates. Oh, that's right, so we can put them on welfare. So we're going to bill you, the lawful bloodline Americans, your assets and your property to pay for the domestic terrorism. And that's what you're paying for, domestic terrorism. When you pay state and federal income tax, you pay in domestic terrorism. There's no law that says you have to pay it. Read the law sometimes. I post it. Me and Dave have written it numerous times in our instruments. So it's up to you to read it. It's up to you to sit there and believe what you're reading. Because if you don't believe in the Constitution, please leave our country. Please leave. Because the Constitution is for our families, our bloodline, our future. You know, I don't care about your country, your holidays, because if I go to your country, if I don't have the resources to live and feed myself, there is no welfare. There is no public housing, period. All right, you go to Mexico, and if you don't have the resources to live, either they throw you out of the country or they throw you into a jail. End of story. There's none of this, oh, I can make bail shit. You don't have a period of rights at all in Mexico. Ireland, Scotland, including England, European nations. Why don't you sit there and read the charges and go read what the bobbies do. Apparently after the Muslims, and everybody goes, oh, Muslims are free people. They have a right. Excuse me. This country's been fighting Muslims since the 1800s. The Marines and the Navy was formed to go after Muslims. Listen to the Marine song time and take it for word to word, and then go on a map and read what they say in the words from the Marine song. Okay? When the pledges of allegiance come up, just like Red Skelton, they didn't have more than 48 states until, 57, 52, Hawaii and Alaska. Matter of fact, if people go, oh, they're part of the United States. No, they are not. They're part of the United States Incorporation. That's it. They are not part of we the people. Okay? And if you go to Hawaii, Hawaii is its own structure. They were taken over by by the British government in the late 1700s. Hawaii made their claim back in 1900s. And now they're still fighting. All of a sudden they're flying the British flag again when they were free and they had their own flag. It's like, are people really paying attention to what's going on around them? Or are they that so numb they can't even pay attention to the real reality that's going on? I mean, I can see the reality. I watch the stuff that's going on the internet, beside all the fake news that goes on. And sometimes I'm stupid too. I get hooked with that silver lure in my lip. Where all of a sudden I go running off on a tangent and realize, oh shit, did I make an ass out of myself? But I'm not making an ass out of myself when it comes to the Bible. That's a fact. I'm not making an ass when it comes to a newborn, a parasite. If you don't know what a parasite is, look it up. Blood-sucking tick. Oh, they call that politics. Politics. Oh, it's a blood-sucking man or woman in the office to suck the blood off of you to make a living because they couldn't get a real job. And if you notice, we've had a 400% increase of employment in the government in all these little counties and new watershed councils and all this new stuff that's going on in the counties. So we need new education system. As far as I'm concerned, I just want to see the 1968 education system 100% shut down. It's a fraud. It's a fake. If you want education, then get together in your communities, make it happen. Get together, get off your butt, and grow food. Make it happen. Oh, stop the hunger problem. Oh, collect rainwater. Oh, no water problem. No water shortage there if you collect it and you grow your food. Oh, that's right. But we are so damn lazy, we have to go to a grocery store and get it off a shelf. We open a can and we say, oh, we got food now. So go out and get it, man. We wouldn't even know what to do. Most of you, if we ever end up in a crazy point of life, you would starve. That's why I'm putting up the rest of my 11-foot fence around my property with spikes. Because when it does hit the fan, I got my food. That's the way I am. People say, oh, you're a hoarder, you're selfish, you're this, you're that. If you actually read the Constitution, I don't owe anybody anything unless I would provide it myself. And God ain't going to give me a goddamn thing. The only one who's going to provide it is me, myself, and I if I go out and grow it. And that's the one thing. When you go to food share programs and you give them your Social Security number, and then the churches, they bill when they get the food from the food pantries, and you give them your personal information. Then they go at the taxes. Then they bill for that box of food that only costs nothing for them, a write-off for the corporation, and then at the end of the year they get $30 a box, and they have a price set that they have on their nonprofit structure. They get reimbursed. 501c3 through 9s are British nonprofit agency through the IRS. The IRS is a British taxation corporation. It is not a government agency. It has nothing to do with the United States, just like the IRS. And I got people that are going through issues. I'll provide that information with the IRS and the laws to that one. Because even the Fifth Amendment even says if you pay IRS taxes, that's a fraud. Larry B. Kraft looked up his case. David was personally involved in that. When he's talking about the stuff that he's been living through and been on these cases, mark him on his word. He's been there. I don't call him a liar. I'm impressed that, I have a man around that has that knowledge that I'm learning from. Okay? And he's impressed, I believe, one of the things I do because we have different knowledges. But we're combining them together, so this is why we are making the forward motions that we are doing, or the forward direction we're doing. I don't like motions. Motions are a ship, and I'm not a ship, and I'll be damned if I'm going to be part of the marine structure of the British government. Even though that possibly part of my family came from England. My family left England. I'm not part of the British government. Hey, just because my bloodline might have came partly from there, doesn't mean I have to accept it. My family was born here. Okay? And the other point is, with abortion, here's a good one. If you eat eggs, think about it. And then, see, we can let our mind go off on stupid shit back and forth. But the bottom line comes down to, if we don't stand up for the bloodline, and if you don't start protecting your bloodline instead of arguing about, even abortion, it's a woman's body, God damn it. And if you pick the wrong woman, she has an abortion, that's life. Been there. Hey, what am I going to do? Tell the woman she has to go forcefully to make her have a baby? Come on, are you that mentally challenged that you're not responsible for yourself? Are you claiming that you're not an adult? If you're an adult, that means you have to be responsible all the way around. It's not partly. You know, you can't sit there and say, I was partly drunk. You can't sit there and say, I was partly pregnant. You can't say, I partly fell down the hill because I twisted my ankle and I misstepped. Either you did it or you didn't. That's simple. When it comes down to it, it is that simple, right or wrong and different. But being an adult is the main structure. You know, did we have Dave yet, or do we see Dave online yet?
Not sure. I'm going to unmute everybody. If Dave is in here, let me know.
Okay.
All participants are unmuted.
Dave, speak up. On with us. Hello, Dave.
Didn't you say it would be a 310?
No, 325, I thought.
325. Okay, I do not see Dave here at all, so...
352 is not there at all either, huh?
Nope. I have a 310, a 713, a 765, and yours.
Good, that's... Okay, well, anyhow, apparently Dave's not with us tonight, so we'll see what happens. You know, because, like I said, and what gets to me, you know, like I said, I've already been through this. People are not have a right to tell a woman what to think, how to live. If you have a constitution, you have to honor 100% constitutional rights one way or the other. And if you can't honor somebody else's right, then you don't have a right to have your rights in your own home, your own land, and your own circumstances. It's that simple. It's 100% or not. You know, you can't sit there and say, well, I'm entitled to my opinion, and my opinion supersedes your opinion because I believe it because of the way I believe it. Doesn't matter the way I'm taught, but I don't have to have respect for you. That's not what this country is about. That's not the way this country was founded. All right? Now, I do support legal immigration under the 14th Amendment. All right? That is the one thing that we have to sit there and agree to. Legal immigration. Not illegal. Okay? Illegals don't have rights in this country. And once we start putting that together, it's like right now we're recalling the governor in the state of Oregon. I've got the other charges I'm putting out right now on her. I got more charges I'm putting out in the governor. Then I got people, because I don't believe in their Bible or their religious craziness, they attack me because I will not sell my soul to the devil. I have a constitutional right to say the Bible is not my belief. The First Amendment gives me that right. I have the constitutional right to say the Constitution is my Bible, my belief. And when I say that, people go, oh, well, you don't believe in the Bible. Oh, you don't have a right to speak like that. So in other words, you're judging me. In other words, you're saying the Constitution don't exist. So in other words, you are actually looking in the mirror and saying that you don't have a right to yourself or your own children or your own bloodline. That's what you're telling people. Think about it. If you don't have respect for the Constitution for yourself, then you have no respect for yourself at all. You know, and, you know, anybody can believe what they want. I respect that. I admire that. You're entitled to your belief. The Constitution gives you the rights. The Bible does not give you rights. That's a real fact. Everybody goes, well, the Bible gives me this right, that right. And I said, well, you know, it's interesting. I have never seen the Bible give any man, woman, or child the right. The only right that I've seen ever been given is through the Constitution, through our court system. So if you cause personal or property damage to somebody, there is remedy. You know, and then then they're going, well, you hurt my feelings by calling me a name. We've lost reality. Sticks and stones might break my bones, my names will never hurt me. When are we going to be adults again, folks? You know, and that's the problem with the kids today. Their emotions or feelings, if somebody says something they don't like, even when they're 14, 15 years old, they bow down and start crying because their feelers were hurt. You know, have we really lost sanity in our country that bad that we don't live in? I mean, it is a point that we do have to think about these things. So, anyhow, see, now I guess Dave is not showing up tonight. That's interesting. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and why don't we just go ahead and open the board up for conversation, and let's just see how it goes. So why don't we just open the board up and
do you
take
want
the first call?
Q&A or?
Yeah, do a Q&A, and then we'll open up the board. We'll see how that goes, so that way you still got control over the board, because I don't want to get people going off on tangents. I want to do it so we're doing this so we're respectful for one another. And it's like the other thing that has bothered even Dave and I, and wait till the other person, slap me hard, God, Great Spirit. Okay, when the other man or woman finishes, and wait, because sometimes Dave doesn't always finish when he talks. He's not quite done. He takes a minute to gather his thoughts. So the one point is that when you're done with your gathering of your thoughts, say, I pass the floor back to whoever. The floor is open. Okay? So, let's start doing this so we're respectful and start acting like real adults.
All right.
So go ahead.
For everybody who's going to do Q&A, because Ed will go for another 5 minutes talking about this. Anybody who wants to get in the Q&A session, just hit *61 after I set the Q&A up, and then you'll be on the list, and I'll go through the list. Please remember, we want to be respectful, and if you have questions or you want to say something, make it short and to the point. Don't just ramble on, please. Q&A is starting.
Q&A session has started.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Hey, Ed, this is Toasted, man. So I got back from court today, and I put the instrument on the flag in the court case, and the judge just said, oh, don't worry about that. That's there for decoration. I'm thinking to myself, really? Do you even know what law you're practicing?
Right, but see, the point is, did you file that before you got to court, or you did file it when you just got there?
I filed it before a week ago. Filed it a week ago, and it was in my file. I saw it. I saw it there. It means he got it.
Yeah, but the one thing is, let me bring this to your attention and everybody else's. Well, you saw it. You want to ask the clerk for a stamped copy of it. Now you have evidence, and then you want to file on him in Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, because see, that's the one thing. I was just talking to a couple other people today, and I got to find it again, but the thing is I had the filing from Washington, D.C., how you file on judges, and you can file on the judges in Washington, D.C., on them for violating that oath. Washington, D.C. will pull their license, and that's part in written. It's really written in their administrative rules on it.
Okay, how do I go about doing that then?
Well, I got to find the damn thing again. I didn't save it because I had it in my old computer before I lost everything.
I told you to get with me on that so we could recover everything. Well,
I'm
anyway.
not anybody in my computer. I'm not losing anything further, period, end of story. I'm not taking any risk of what's going on right now, what I'm dealing with. Because, I got so much going on that if I lose anything, I'm losing too much. I can't afford to do it. Literally, I can't afford to do it because I don't have the resources for a new computer.
So I go back to the clerk tomorrow and ask for a stamped copy of
right. You go back and you ask for a stamped copy of your file. You get the whole copy of your entire file.
All right, I will do that, and then I'll just wait for the further steps. That way I can proceed.
Right. We could give a buzz on that, and I'll see if I can find it because I'm trying to get the stuff right now emailed out, dealing with the other part of the recall on Cape Brown, and anybody in Oregon dealing with that. It's good to see that you're working on it. I don't know if Michael Cross will give me a buzz or not. I've worked with Mike on a few other projects in the past.
Also, I want to bring forward somebody has been arrested for using their Social Security number in so-called secret trust. People don't be doing that. Seriously.
Oh, you're talking about writing off their bills?
Yeah, I'm talking about that structure, yeah, because because people are trying to tap into the Federal Reserve because they think that there's an account with their Social Security number on it. There is not. There is not, because I have a 9-digit Social Security number and I got a 9-digit bank account number from years ago. Over 10 years ago, I had that account, and it's 9 digits as well. So people are getting the wrong impression and doing something terribly stupid. We're talking thousands and thousands of people are doing this.
Oh, I know, but the courts are loving it because that's the point. All these people that tell everybody that, oh, you could write off your bills and you can do this. This is one thing I've been working on. I wrote up a template. I've even got the service back from the state of Oregon, from the Utility Commission, that has it on file, what I did file on that. Okay, so it is filed with them. It's filed with the utility companies in my area. So I am further researching it, but I do have it on file and record. But a lot of these people, and I have to agree with you, Toast, because a lot of these people are going, well, they say I could use this, and then they spend hundreds of dollars for the examples that these men and women are putting out these programs, and then next thing you know, they're in jail. And then they're wondering why they're in jail. And it's like, hello, you put yourself in jail. Nobody else put you there. Nobody else did it to you. And then they get all upset. And it's like, I've been telling people that for years. I never jumped into that. It's like, a lot of things. I went and filed on my birth certificate, so I filed that I am the owner of me.
They're really going to be upset when they go down for Title 408.
Mm-hmm.
The 5 years in prison with the fine. They're really going to be pissed off about that.
Oh, yeah. This is the thing is that people don't get it. It's like Title I. Section 8, dealing with a newborn. That's what I'm saying. It's not alive until it's born, but claim that bloodline. If you don't claim your property, because once it's alive, that's property. It's like when you have a cow or a horse or a goat, you put that and you claim that as property. No different. That's the point I don't comprehend when people do stuff like this. That is no different in the structure of property at all.
And what's really concerning me right now is I put a warning up, and I've gotten, a community guideline strike against me for it, because I tried to warn people, hey, don't do this. I even went to the Social Security Administration website and showed them, hey,
you stay away from the government sites. You educate the people. The government knows this. They're your enemy. Wake up. They're the Bible people. They're Christianity. That's why they passed the law, so that way they can start beheading Christians. This is not a joke, folks. That's why people go, I'm a Christian, and then all of a sudden you bring up a Christian and the cops arrest you and you wonder why you're in jail. You just said that you were the devil people. These cops are educated and trained in this. That's why I say it's so apparently to learn how to talk to your elected and public officials. Okay? I mean, I've been through them even today talking to them where they were getting irate and they were listening to me, and I could feel the anger on the other side of the phone. But they weren't hanging up because they knew I had them by their employment status. But like I do is I just tell them, honor your oath of office. Honor your oath, so that way if you honor your oath, then that way you're being honorable. Nobody can go after you. The honor oath comes realistically from the Treaty of 1213 off the Magna Carta of 1215. The Magna Carta is British. When you go to court, if you do your Bible right and you have a really good judge, if you know your Bible, and I know cases that guys who have done this, they literally used their Bible and got away with murder. Okay? But, they got out, but they didn't live long after that. I guarantee you that one. That happens. And I agree with that one. They shouldn't, if you're cold-blooded murder, you should pay for that.
Yep.
But see, this is the thing, you don't want to be out there flashing, on it. It's like I got my signs put on the front of my home. That's in the New Organ Tracker's website. And you go to it, you see the thing with public employees. Those signs I got are 18-inch by 24-inch, and they're on both sides of my front on the street on my property. Okay, my neighbors see it. They do it. They know about me. You know, I know what the cops say about me. They tell people to stay away from me. The kids down the street are always asking me, "Hey, Ed, would you teach me the Constitution?" Kids are eager to learn this. Parents don't want to teach their kids freedom. They want to teach them enslavement. Because that way I can hold the Christmas gift. I can hold things over the kids' head if they don't clean their house and do their laundry. Then I can sit there and say, "You're not getting this or that." And the kids will do what? Most of us were young enough, some of us did, not me. They would break down and cry. You know, I watched my siblings do that growing up. I never got involved in that. After I was 6 years old, I mean, I figured it out after that. You know, it's just putting the pieces together. It's that simple. You know, when it really comes down to it, it really is that simple. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the point. I mean, I get all these people wanting to do this with this and that case, you know, and then, you know, we're doing these shows, and they're like, "Well, I don't have to do this, that, and the other thing." Well, I get starting getting tired. If you're not going to join in and do the conversations, I'm getting to the point where I don't want nothing to do with these people in their cases. You know, because see, some of these people have actually won their cases, and then all of a sudden it's all about me, 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 and it pisses me off. You know? Yeah. And so, I mean, the point is, I plan on continuing this structure, you know, because people are listening. I know people listen to the videotapes. I know what's going on because I see the aftermath of what's being passed around. So I know people are getting it. You know, but the point is that we have to start protecting ourselves. Now, you know, get the instrument. Then you can file on the judge. You know? You know, so it's like, you know, I'm going to tell this guy, "You call me on the show right now. I'm doing a talk show. Let's talk about it. I'm not going to call you afterwards. I got work to do, folks."
Right.
You know, I mean, I got indictments I'm doing on the governor. Okay, I'm working on indictments for some people in another state too. Okay, because they all of a sudden want to start doing indictments. I don't have time to start bouncing around on a lot of this stuff. Because either we're going to get this stuff going and change the thing, and we're putting the people's government back to we the people, or I'm just filing my paperwork. I get my stuff stamped. I get my stuff notarized. I don't get harassed. Of course, I haven't been out in my covered wagon, but when I go traveling, I don't get harassed. You know, so, I mean, it is the thing that is what's going on.
One more thing, Ed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Forgot to mention it a couple shows ago, but an Esquire filed an affidavit on me, and they are representing Progressive, and they're out of Phoenix, Arizona. Now, didn't you tell me that was a title and nobility violation a long time ago?
What are they filing on you for?
Well, in 2015, I rear-ended a Jeep, and now they're...
so that's your fault. 100% your fault. How come you haven't paid it?
Because I don't have the money.
Well, didn't you arrange payments with the owner for paying the damage of the vehicle?
I couldn't contact the owner. The owner has changed his phone number.
Well, I know, but it's your responsibility to take care of that. That's why if people want to travel without a license or insurance and stuff, it's your reliability.
Ed, what concerns me though is I don't even know
wages.
I don't even know what I'm paying for, because that seems like an awful lot for
right. But you have to write them back and say, "All right, I'm not admitting to anything. You're trying to claim this or that or the other thing on me. I need it in writing what your statement of claim is." And then when you do that, remember, you have to rebuttal that within 2 weeks, guaranteed. If you don't rebuttal it in 2 weeks, you're screwed.
Yeah, they want $54 for me to rebuttal it.
You know, you don't pay for that bullshit. You just rebuttal it. That's what I tell people. I don't pay for my stuff. There ain't no law says that you have to pay for it.
Right. All right.
You just respond. Because if they're doing this, then when you send your deal in requesting their statement that you want to see the damages and stuff, you know, then you rebuttal them and say, I need $100 for you to do this.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, this is the point that has to be done. You know? I mean, so that's the way I look at it.
Well, Ed, I'm going to stop bothering you for this show. I'll bother you another time. I yield the floor.
So, but I'm just saying is that that's the point. Remember, if they're going to start charging you and billing you, you have the right to do the same. Okay, remember, they're not God.
Next caller is 970. I'm unmuting him now.
Hi there, Ed. This is Angie.
Oh, hi, Angie. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
I got you on that one.
Yeah. So I sent to you a copy of what I received.
Yeah.
I can't reach Michelle. Any ideas?
Bill and Dave are on the road somewhere. I have not, you know, heard from them at all. Apparently Dave's not on the show, so I have no, you know, I have no knowledge of what's going on, to tell you the truth. You know, what's going on with them at all, so I don't have a clue.
Sure. Okay.
So I'm dealing with that one right now because I really don't have a clue what's going on. Because I expected Dave on the show. I made some calls. I never got a response back in the last week from the last conversation that I had with Dave. So I don't know what to tell you the truth right now, but right now I haven't had a chance to get on it because I'm trying to get my other case written up. I'm trying to get my insurance deal that when I was in the auto accident finished up. And I'm trying to get this other one set up on the governor because I'm trying to do this and get this stuff done before they try to do something stupid to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because, I mean, I just filed racketeering, fraud, and treason charges on the governor, and the House and Senate's partly involved, so I got to keep it going because I got 5 or 7 more in filing on them.
Okay.
You know, because I got to do all this within the next 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
And I love it when, you know, I mean, you know, I'm dealing with, you know, even these guys, you know, that the state of corruption, New Hampshire, Mike Gill, you know, is like, you know, I'm watching his videos where the judge tells him, I call his company up, I tell him what the judge tells him what he needs to do, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, block me. So he's out there whining and crying to the general public. A lot of these people are out there whining and crying to the general public and asking for money, and you people are out there supporting them, and they ain't doing a damn thing for the people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know?
Well, I was thinking
go ahead.
of... Are you there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What I was kind of looking into doing and researching was doing an amended... I looked up the information on that to do an amended claim.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. I was working on something else. That's what I have in front of me. I don't have that out. But amendment was one of the ideas. Adding somebody, I was considering adding the opposing attorney, and I'm just not sure if that's the right way to go about that, because I was reading on some other stuff here. So if I were to amend it, kind of resetting the clock, or at least that would be what I was hoping for, is that they would...
Yeah, I got what you're saying, and that is not a bad thought. But also, too, when you always do your instruments, you could use what I put on the disclaimers, so that way you could always amend anything that is only you can do it, nobody else can.
Right, yes. Yeah, shoot. I have too much on my desk. But that was one thing as I was researching, was doing the amendments, or doing an amended, and they said that they can shoot it down just because they feel like it, kind of a thing.
They can, but then you want to make sure you're ready to go on the other side immediately. See, the one thing is trying to get things set up ahead of time so you're in a position. You know,
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. So, what do you mean the next going on the other side? Let me see if I find my notes.
Well, it's like thinking ahead of time before the judge does something.
Sure. Yeah, because it's there's some gray areas as far as doing an amendment, so they can throw it out. But I'm going to tell them that they can, because.
But you have to put it in. You know, you have to put it in writing. This is the point that getting people to comprehend that you have to put everything in writing.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely. And because did you read that paperwork that I sent to you?
No, I told you I haven't had time. I've been so buried.
No, okay. Because he doesn't say that I'm throwing this out in its entirety. It's just stated that, it's almost like an excuse how it's written. So it was really stupid. So I was going to try again. And the way I read it was that the new notice period starts to run basically upon an amendment. Does that sound like anything that you might be aware of? Okay. So I was just looking into that. And then I was looking at some other information, but let me see what else I had here. I guess that's where I was going with that. Anybody on that has any 2 cents to offer on that? There was something that said that they can grant a leave to amend, but that's requesting them. I don't really want to request it.
No, we can get into that later. We want to get some answers on things. You know, you gotta start paying attention to what you're filing on the thing. I know you got questions, but there's I sent you some videos I know about a month ago. Did you ever watch those?
I've watched bits and pieces. My system crashes. I just like tonight's call again. Every single time, the whole thing just goes black and everything is gone. So it's bits and pieces before it just totally goes out. I have that issue with another person, Michael, who's been trying to help too. So there was something with the mandate that relates back if the requirements are satisfied with another potential option, if not an amendment. So I didn't know if anybody had any information on which might be the better route to try.
Yeah. Well, we could throw some things out, but like I said, I don't know what's going on. Really listening with Michelle and Dave, and when you were talking about this a month and a half ago, you know, we were telling you to get a hold of Michelle, and then nothing, you know, so I don't know. I mean, things are timing, you know. We move fast. We got a lot of stuff going. Our life does not stop. We don't have a life. I don't have a life.
Well, I did talk to her, and then I had lost her number, and that's why I was trying to get it from you on the last week's call.
I did that, and I gave you her email. Why didn't you email her?
I emailed her.
How many times?
Probably 5, at least.
You know, you got to do it every day going, hello, hello, hello.
Well, I didn't want to harass
Oh, I don't
her.
care. I mean, people do that to me, and it's like, are we adults or children?
Well, that's why I don't do it, see?
You know, an adult, if somebody's out there willing to help like I do, I get people all the time does stuff, you know, I mean, that's the point. I don't have an issue. You know. So, I mean, I deal with things, literally.
Yeah.
You know, so.
What I'm working on, but I stuck because I couldn't get a hold of Michelle, and now she's gone, and it's going to be for like over a week before she's back. So I think.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on, to tell you the truth. You know.
Okay.
You know.
All right. I just wanted to throw that out there. I didn't know who else on the call might have any ideas, but one option was relates back, and one option was to. There was a grant to leave to amend, and I didn't want to ask for that, but just...
Right. That's the point that, you know, the whole point is learning how to do this, because, I mean, you know, like I said, we've been going through this. You know, we've been going through this, learning by hard knocks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I got an email from an old friend of mine that we haven't talked in years, and I'm glad to see his involvement is still getting involved out there. Okay, he's asking me a couple things why I wasn't around on some situations for him years ago. And it's like, well, he didn't realize I was in federal court, and they tried to kill me, and I'm going through this other stuff as he was going through stuff, you know, and there was no communication, because some of the stuff I wasn't even in the state at the time, because I, you know, like I said, the state here in the county, I mean, for the last 10 years, well, actually, well, it started in 11 years, 2006, 17 years. Because 2006, they tried to put me in federal prison, said I was faking my broken neck. How do you fake a broken neck?
Oh.
Okay, and the Democratic Party, the senators, their own children who are doctors were filing these false police reports and claims on me. All right, and doctors are going against doctors and the other doctors, and they knew it was a political fight, and they knew it. It was a Democratic Party definitely going after me because I didn't believe in that structure or their Bibles, so they were coming after me on that. So then that was in the papers and stuff, written that way.
Mm.
You know, so this is the point. You know.
Right. You had said just a little bit ago tonight about you're doing a claim or whatever for racketeering, fraud, and treason.
Indictment.
Can you share an indictment?
Yeah. Did you send me your? I believe I sent it to you. I'll go. I know your email's in my deal. I'll go get your email. Let me go find your deal because I know your email should be there. I'll send it to you right now. And anybody else who's listening who wants to read what I'm actually filing on the governor right now, I will be more than happy to send it to you, you know, so you can read this. I've got the filing what I just wrote up on the police department, law enforcement, and everything. So this way you walk through that the police department is a non-profit agency. They basically work for the church groups and the city and council. By federal law, they are not there to protect you or aid you in any fashion. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like what Dave was saying on the talk show several times. The first thing when you say to a cop, "What is your emergency?" I just got somebody calls me up this morning going, "Well, I just got a ticket and stuff," and I'm like, "Well, why didn't you say this or do that? You know, how come you didn't have this printed in your car for guidelines? You know, you have this."
Okay.
And it's like, well, I didn't think about it. I said, well, that's been 3 months that you've had it. You told me you were going to print it and have it in your vehicle or your covered wagon, and now you're telling me you didn't do it? And then you're sitting there panicking on me because you flaked?
Okay, well, I'll see.
You know, so I'm not trying to be a hard ass to anybody, but I'm trying to say is that we all make mistakes. When we're wrong, we're wrong. Instead of going, you know, trying to say something, just say I was a dumbass. I've done the same thing. I did that earlier on a conversation because I admit I was a dumbass on the circumstances. And it's not being, you know, afraid of admitting you're a dumbass.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Do you just have the one number for Michelle?
That's it.
Okay.
You know, but I mean, I can't answer for her. Dave, I don't know what's going on. I was expecting at least Dave tonight, but that's obviously Dave's not here.
Oh, okay. Weird.
You know. You know, and hopefully this guy is listening, you know, asking me the questions. I send him the information. Read it. You know. And the thing is that he was going through things, I was going through things. He didn't comprehend what the attack was on me. I knew it was going on him, the attack, but they were going after me so hard because I was involved because, after that point, we were indicting and recalling a judge back then.
Hmm.
So, people panicked because this is the big boy game. When you're doing this stuff, it's a big boy game. You're not bowing head to the damn Bible and the religious bullshit. You know, that's what people want people to do. You know? So, I mean, you know, and that's the point. You know, it's either, you know, that's the whole frustration point that we're going through here tonight.
Okay.
So, you know.
Well, this one, I just received it, thank you, and that probably could be of benefit to me with a part of my situation where they sent the cops to steal my little girl without any warrant, without any reason, without anything. They just
right, but see, the other point is you were with the man, you knew he was going to do it.
No.
Oh, he never told you he was going to do it?
No. No, I got
never
no
had a concept the man was like that?
When our lives started falling apart, he said he would do whatever he could to take my kids from me. He meant all of them. He couldn't.
Yeah, he told you.
Okay, well, this was years later.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. You didn't believe him at the time. That's the problem with women.
I don't know that I didn't believe him. It was kind of out there. So I was out on vacation with my kids, and he sends the cops to steal her with an ex parte order from a judge saying that.
Yeah, I know. We know all this. We want to get solutions.
Yes, I'm looking for solutions.
Right,
so
and that's the point is that when you have the information in front of you, start filing on the ex parte judge. He violated his oath of office. He didn't have a warrant by a jury. You never went to court, or you should be writing this stuff up. It's your responsibility to write the circumstances up of these things and file it in court.
Yes. The asshole won't let me file.
No, why are you filing in their court? How come you're not taking it to the federal courts? It's the problem with people.
Well, I don't understand how to get it to federal court when it's
I told you that. You go to the federal Washington, D.C., federal court, look it up, read their filing, how to file. Washington, D.C. The only other court is lawful is in Philadelphia.
Yes, I looked them up too.
Okay.
And it just says money. It talks of money.
It talks about money, but I've given everybody the thing that if you are a lawful American, you don't pay.
No, not fee. It's talking about only taking cases that involve money.
No, it does not say that. Your child is money under the birth certificate bond. Open your mind.
Well, I don't care. I'll try. I mean, I'm just...
That's the point. What are they going to do? Tell you no? Why do we live in a time where we live in fear of the word no? I mean, when I was involved in a relationship and the cops tried to take the girl's kid, I told the cop point blank. And he goes, "You threatened me," and I said, "No, I told you what I'm going to do."
This says here the U.S. Court of Federal Claims. The next one is the U.S. District Court. So you do mean the U.S. Court of Federal Claims.
I'm talking in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Not your state.
I know. I'm reading it. I'm telling you.
Okay. So read it on your time. So anything else we could bring up or go to that question? That's something you need to read and go through.
I was wondering about which listing. There's 3.
Start reading it and start making your own decisions. We can discuss that another time. Okay, but we're not going to discuss that one right now. We'll discuss that another time if need be. But you have to read it and start making your own decisions. Start bouncing things off in your own mind.
I have been doing that, yes.
So, okay, well, let's get to the next caller. See if there's another caller that would like to bring up things. Oh, the floor is open. Anybody else would like to bring something in?
That was the last caller. Angie was the last one that hit star 61, so...
Okay.
Effectively, open up the board completely?
Yeah, I guess we could open up the board, see if anybody has anything to say. I'm just trying to figure out what's been transpiring on issues because of... things, because I know that I'm being attacked because I do not support the so-called Bible and people's religious beliefs. And then they wonder why they lose in court because you're going into religious court and fighting the religious court.
Okay, I'll end session, and everybody who's listening to this, please remember, if you're just listening, mute yourself. That'll be... star 6, I believe. And if you want to say something, unmute yourself, *6 again. All right, board is...
All participants are unmuted. Q&A session is over.
So, anybody would like to speak?
Yeah, Ed,
Yeah, go ahead.
this is Gerald.
Hey, Gerald, I haven't even heard anything from your brother. Where the heck is he at?
Well, the last I knew, he was supposed to be taking a vehicle up into Michigan
That's all
today. And I haven't heard things since then, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, no, I got you. I called and 3 times and talked to Michelle earlier twice. She said that we're getting ready to pull into a place or her brother's house in like an hour. I called her back. They were doing something, and I called 4 hours later, and I haven't heard back from either one of them. And last I knew, he was supposed to be on the show tonight, and I have no clue.
I don't either.
You know?
I hope nothing's happened to him.
No, I agree with you on that one, because I'm not, you know, usually if he's not going to be on, he at least lets me know. And there's only been one show, to the best of my knowledge, he's mixed. So
Yep.
I'm like wondering what the heck is going on.
I don't either. I could get up here and see if I can get a hold of him and see what's going on. See if he'll answer my call or something.
Yeah, maybe, because he gave me, he was going to give me a cell phone and never gave me a cell phone number.
Oh, he didn't?
You know, or he did, and I wrote it down. It's not in front of me. It was one of those things that was going on at the time. I had several different things going on at the same time, if you could imagine how that can be sometimes.
Yeah. Have you got a pen?
We won't do that on the air, but you have my phone number, don't you?
Yes, I do.
So why don't you give me a buzz after we get off, and then I'll do it that way, because I don't want to do that on the air, because, you know, I don't think he wants to have that publicized.
Okay.
You know?
Let's say it that way then.
Yeah, and then I'll send you what I just wrote, because the other point I was trying to get him to read, because I just wrote this whole wonderful piece on the cops, proving how the cops are, the religion points of view, what a cop does, how they work from the Bible and everything, and their nonprofit status compared to their agency as nonprofit. And he was supposed to read that last week, and I haven't heard a damn thing from him either or why.
Yeah, he was tied up down in Florida for the longest time.
Well, yeah, he was down at somebody's house down there, and that was the last I heard. And then we'll talk when you give me a call offline on that one.
Okay. Okie doke.
You know, so
that's all I have. Oh,
yeah.
I know. I wanted to ask you a question. As far as this bank fraud business goes, you know, I took the papers into my bank, and they said, "Oh, those aren't law anymore."
Oh,
and he dismissed me.
Not law anymore.
Huh? What was that again, Ed?
Well, I said you're talking under the Banking Act. You mean?
Yes.
Oh, they
were
said.
Were they supposed to pay our bills?
Right. I would have asked them at that point, can you provide that evidence for me?
Maybe I'll go back and do that. But David gave me a big long piece. I think I'll take him to them too. And if they have, hey, that's not law, then it's just going to hit the fan.
Oh, yeah, no, they've been doing this because, see, it's like, apparently Jeff Sessions just came out recently and enacting where they could come in and take your guns, enacting that they could take your homes, your assets, and everything else, and they don't have to take you to court anymore.
Oh, really?
So, and Obama announced this is bullshit. So this is the point that I'm trying to figure out some of this stuff, you know, of what's going on. It's interesting, you know, what's going on. And, you know, and like I said, you know, I've been preaching on this shit about the Bible for years, and people have been calling me crazy and nuts and all this stuff. And then every time I keep proving myself wrong, nobody else can prove me wrong.
Huh. Yep.
You know, and that's the interesting, sad part about it. Nobody has proven me wrong.
Well, that's good.
You know, I mean, even in the state of Oregon, they made voting easy so anybody from other countries can vote in the state of Oregon.
Oh, for God's sake.
So they're saying that the United States is the world government, folks.
Yeah, really.
Well, because everybody goes, oh, the Bible this, the Bible that. And it's like, people, the Bible is not the United States. That's why the forefathers clearly stated the Constitution, freedom from religion. They knew what religion destroyed. They knew religion destroyed their structure of their own families. That's why they left England. You know? And then in the state of Oregon, they changed the Blue Book Constitution, Section 10. Go look at it. Now they're claiming Oregon is a democracy, and they can forfeit your land without even going to court in it.
Oh, boy.
You know?
Crazy.
Yeah, so as soon as you send me your email, I'll send you what I wrote on the cops, and then I'm finishing up the ones on the judges, the Bible, the Queen of England, the Vatican, how they send your money, and people go to church and they donate, and then you go to court and they take your money, and then they send it to England, and then you wonder why you're being invaded. I mean, England right now is talking about opening their borders in England so that way there is, and the sad part about it is they have a Muslim mayor for downtown London.
Yes, I heard that.
And they're not even American, they're not even British anymore in their country.
Geez, that's clever. Well, that's what Obama wants to do here. Wanted to do here when he brought all the Muslims in here. He wanted to make this a Muslim country.
Well, I know Illinois is doing it right now because Illinois has a Muslim advisory board to the House and Senate and governor now.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, my God. My God, I call that state.
Yeah, but people don't realize the Muslim war in the 1800s was 10 times worse than the Civil War.
Yeah.
Don't realize what the truth is. That's the saddest part. You know, they don't read what the truth is. I mean, I get people all the time trying to argue me about that. That's why I keep going off on a woman's right to her body, because if a woman loses the right to her body, you lose the right to yours. You know, the Bible says, oh, that man owns the woman. If we start doing that, come on, look what that's done. And think about it. There was men who abused their women and the next morning didn't wake up. They had their throats slit. So wake up to the truth here, people.
Right.
You know, and you can't blame a woman for doing that, for defending herself, because she lives in fear.
Well,
but only if it's in fear, not the, you know, fantasy that some do portray. You know, but I mean, it has to be known, you know, people know it, you know, not that, oh, I kept it in the closet for years because I was afraid. That's bullshit. You know, I mean, I've seen that. I remember I grew up in San Francisco in the good old days in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, mainly in the 70s and 80s, and I witnessed quite a few interesting things. You know, but it does come down to personal responsibility and liability. And we don't even have that anymore. You know, and people go, oh, and I remember, you know, in the 70s and 80s, and mainly in the mid-70s, where people were saying the jobs are going to go, and this was going to happen, and that was going to happen, and people said, and you think about going, oh, and I remember people calling these people nuts and crazy when they're saying that this country was going to be overrun by foreigners. This country would not have rights. They were going to ship 70% of our employment overseas, which they've done. You know?
Yeah.
You know, and this is the point. I mean, even the CIA is getting funding. You know, they're funding ISIS. You know, they're funding these wars overseas. Your tax dollars, and let me tell you, you know, and that's the point I'm talking to people too. Tax dollars. You're paying taxes Federal law says you're a fool to pay taxes. Why are you doing that? You know, how come you don't go by the law and you go by statute codes or administration or some, you know, no offense to the people, but a Bible. The Bible is not law. The Bible is a book written by man. The Constitution was written by man to protect us from the Bible and religious beliefs.
Huh.
You know, people don't see it that way. They don't comprehend it that way. But it was written to protect us from ourselves from the inside out. You know, I know people don't see it that way, but once you start stepping out of the movie and you watch the production, and all of a sudden you start going, you know?
Yeah, really.
Well, it's like things that you've learned from your brother over the last couple of years.
Oh.
You know, and you've gone through things that you've learned from him, like things that he said for years, and you thought he was nuts. And I've done the same thing in my family. You know, or my family goes, oh, we give the Caesars with Caesars, and if they want to deal with it, we just turn over and bow our heads.
Right.
You know, but then they tell their kids not to bow their heads, but then they do, and then, you know, I mean, it's all double talk. Either we are doing this or we're not doing this, folks.
It's what we've had drilled into us in the past.
Well, yeah, and it's been drilled to us in school, too.
Right.
By the TV set. You know, this is the point that we can't let the TVs run our lives.
Yep,
you know,
right.
like the one guy is going, you know, why wasn't it there for him in court? I was in federal court at the time. They were trying to put me in federal prison. Said I was faking my disabilities. I have only had the mayor of 2 cities and city councils, 2 senators, state representatives, file federal complaints on me, kept me tied up in many, many times. You know, said I was faking my disabilities. How do you fake a broken neck?
Yeah, really.
You know, that's the disturbing part that gets to me.
Objection on the basis of excessive use of the phrase "you know."
Oh, okay, well, I do that. So, but, yes, Mommy.
Right.
So, but, I mean, it's like the things that go on, what goes on in front of us. And that's the point that, you know, living this stuff, and then when we start comprehending and we see the truth, how do we deal with the truth?
Yep.
You know, so these are the things we live by and in and for what's going on. You know? So, I mean, it's just one of those things that you don't know how to handle it until you handle it, you know?
Yeah, like, for instance, us, when we were being brought up, we were in church every time the doors were open.
Yeah.
And this has been drilled into us, drilled into us, drilled into us, drilled into us since we were just, well, since we were able to do anything.
Correct.
And it is hard.
No, I know it's hard to break the mind control that's been propaganded and programmed into one for so long.
Right.
And I know that. I've been through the similar things like that, too. You know, I mean, not as deeply as most. You know, I mean, I was fortunate because I had basically a childhood that I was able to, you know, do a lot of things on my own that, you know, I mean, I never took advantage. I took advantage of it. I didn't abuse it, you know. But also too, my mom had respect for me because she knew what I said I meant, and I knew what she said she meant. So we didn't play games.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was all about honor and respect. What a concept.
You got her.
You know, and then people wonder why they have problems with their kids today because of the state's involvement. They didn't think about this, that, or the other thing. Or they didn't think that was going to happen to them. And the thing is, you always got to be prepared because if they decide tomorrow, supposedly shut the banks down, and if you don't have food storage, what are you going to do?
They're big, bad hurts.
Reality, we're living it. We are living it.
Yep.
I mean, come on, wake up, folks. Look at the national disasters when it happened that were programmed by the corporation called HARP. All of a sudden, there's no food, no water. What are you going to do?
Phew.
You know?
For sure, I'm not going to.
Go ahead.
For sure, I'm not going to go and get my water out of the Wabash River down here. Good Lord. Talk about a sludge pool. Ooh.
They poisoned a lot of stuff. It's like the Democrats when Obama left last year, they stole another $1 billion out of Social Security.
Oh, good Lord.
And people say, oh, the Social Security is not ours. Read the real foundation of Social Security. Social Security is not a government agency. You know, that's why, you know, I tell people, you got to read this stuff. Quit hearing what people are telling you. It's like these people all go on, you know, oh, I can write my bills off. I've heard this before. I've got the stamps if I want to do it. It's like Toast was saying, he knows these people are hearing how people are going to jail for it. People are going to jail for this stuff. Because, see, we're supposed to be able to do this because the masses, instead of standing up when we should have stood up in the last 30 years, we didn't stand up. We decided to go to baseball games and be involved in other stuff, and we didn't stand up with each other. You know, so, and that's the problem that we are realistically living right now today and fighting with the issues. You know, I mean, those are the things that we do have the issues with today.
Yeah, we are in a real mess.
Oh, we are. I mean, I get people all the time when they ask for things, and I send them stuff, and then because I don't want to go into their structure about Jesus Christ and, you know, or whatever, Yahoo, whatever the other name is, you know, and it's like, you know, God, and then you sit there and tell me that you want the Constitution, but you won't respect somebody else's wishes or somebody else's rights?
Correct.
You know, and it's all about what you believe or what the Bible says for yourself. See, that's the thing that, you know, gets so frustrating, you know, and then people wonder why the crime rates are up. They wonder why when you drive down the highway and you have a radiator hose blow or tire blow out and nobody helps you. I mean, it's like, think about it. We become a society, I wouldn't want to say society, that's a British term, but we just became a bunch of people that are so self-centered, it's all about me, 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 me.
You're right on.
All right, we see it every day. And then they got this other group that's out there called Freedom School and Freedom Law School. And I tell people, you got to be very careful because these other agencies are run by foreigners. And they're doing this to get people caught in jail. Because remember, your birth certificate and you going to jail is a very hot commodity. It's a very hot commodity. You know, I mean, and that's what people don't think about it. People turn people in all the time for the profits that they can receive off of somebody else. You know, I've had people try to get me involved in different things like that, and I just can't sell my soul to company store to have more respect for myself. A lot of people don't have respect for themselves today.
You say that again.
You know? So, and you see that, you know, you're an elder, you're probably one of the oldest, no offense, that is on the line right now. You know, but people don't think about how it affects them, it's, you know, or what the danger it does for them. You know, that's the other point is that setting up the stuff for your kids. I mean, I talk to people all the time, oh shit, I raised my kids, they could defend themselves, so screw the kids. And it's like, okay, so what the hell did you bring them on this planet for?
Right.
You know, I don't want to hear this crap that, oh, the woman shouldn't have an abortion because of this, that, and the other thing. And it ain't the right thing under the name of God. Who the hell God got a right to say? Who the hell gives you a right to say what God says? Isn't the Bible truly say, realistically say in the Bible, God shall judge, not man? Yep. So who the hell gives a man or a woman the right to judge somebody else in their belief for the way they're living their life?
None whatsoever.
You know, I mean, it's not simple. I got people all the time because I say this or do that, and I don't believe the way they believe, and they're going, well, you're going to be condemned to hell. I said, well, shit, if I am, good. I just hope I can take over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'll be going there to take over, trust me.
Yep.
You know, this ain't going to go for no summer camp. You know, I'm not going for a summer camp outing. You know, and it's like you only get one chance to live life. And like the Bible says, and I have read it, life is to be as in heaven as in on earth. So the only way that terminology clicks to me if you're living. Because if you're living on earth, you know it's in heaven because you can feel, touch. And right now in our country, we're living a living hell. We are living truly under Nazism.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, good Lord.
We are. I mean, we didn't have a jail in my county until 1993. 1993, folks. We didn't have a jail in my county. Nobody got arrested for a Dewey. Nobody got arrested for driving without a license. Nobody got arrested for riding a dirt bike or motor without a license, driving down the streets. You know, when I was here, I mean, it was like growing up in somewhat in the San Francisco Bay Area. The drunks will be walking down the street, drunk off their butt. Nobody gives them a time of day. Now all of a sudden, oh my God, we got to clean the streets up. That's offensive because the Bible says we need to do that. You know, when you think about it, oh, we can't have that in our community, having drunks around. We can't have it in our community if you dress a different way. We can't have it in our community that you're walking around with your arms on your hip. Oh my God, that scares the children because they've been so programmed to be terrified. I mean, I remember when I went to school, shit, everybody had a 30-30 in the back of their window. Literally. And they were loaded. They weren't unloaded. We're talking kids, and I mean kids because I was one of them. I always had an arm on me, too. Of course, my arm was always my little 25 Saturday night. But all the other ones had either 12 or 20 gauge shotguns and 30-30s, and most of them had a lot of 22s. They were always loaded.
Uh-huh.
We didn't lock our cars at the school grounds. Somebody went in somebody's car and you knew it. You went over and knocked the shit out of them. You didn't go to jail for doing that. You know, people respected you because you defended somebody else's right for their property. And then people today, if you go defend somebody's right, well, you had no right for doing that. It's like the guy in Texas when one of his own family members was raping his 5-year-old daughter. And he walked in that room, and that guy was assaulting his 5-year-old daughter. He hit the guy 3 times. Only hit him 3 times. 3 times it was hard enough to kill the guy. And it was all over the newspapers and the media and ABC and CBS and all these news reporters going, well, he should have been charged with at least second-degree murder. You know, 2 wrongs don't make a right. It's like, what kind of mentality are these people living? So in other words, you're telling everybody else who's listening to you that rape is acceptable. Exactly the way I look at it, that's what you're telling people. You're saying if a man defends a woman who's being raped, child or woman, doesn't matter. And believe me, I've defended women that were being raped, and I've done some horrendous damage to people over men on the time who've done that when I saw that. Not a joke. You know, today you would go to jail for it. Ridiculous. What do you mean 2 wrongs don't make a right? You know, you're assaulting somebody, and if I'm not mistaken, it even says in the law, you see somebody assaulting with them, and if you have to shoot them to stop the assault because they might end up murdering that man or woman, you're supposed to have that right. But the Democratic Party's been changing all this. Now everybody's panicking over Jeff Sessions. All of a sudden now he's acting worse like the damn Bible crap. Oh, you don't have the right to have this in your home and that in your home. Who the hell gives these people the right, and they don't even know what a constitution is. They go by the way, like you said, they were programmed going to school. They were programmed going by church. That's all they know. They don't know a life outside of that. They don't know what life is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the saddest part we're all living today. We're all going through these hassles and headaches. You know, I mean, I've got to try to get back to a couple other people here in time. You know, it's like Mike, you know, he sits there and emails me this stuff, you know. I'm just wondering what kind of guy this guy is, you know. He was all about me and my feelings. My feelings were hurt. Doesn't matter what happened to you. Where were you at? I was in jail. I was not in jail at the time, but I was in court. You know, and I'm trying to explain to him even at the time what was going on, and it was all about him. He wouldn't hear a damn word I said. You know, and that's the thing that pisses me off. You know, and then then people want to start bringing that Bible in. I don't want to hear the Bible. Because what does the Bible do? The Bible doesn't do anything but tell you how to live. Because people judge you because you don't believe like them. And the First Amendment, why our forefathers put the First Amendment, freedom from religion. How come we can't comprehend what the forefathers wrote in the Constitution? These men already grew up in the religious wars. You know, they knew the bloodline structure, what they came from in England before they came here, and the ones that came from Spain that came here through Mexico. They knew the destruction of their bloodline. They knew the heritage that they grew up into. That's why they didn't want to pass it to their grandchildren. And now we're seeing the same thing done in existence today. You know, that's why, that's what I tell people. You got a Bible, send it to England. I would love to see 5 or 10 million Bibles show up at downtown London, sewer and water. I said sewer and water.
Yep, right.
They started getting all these Bibles delivered. You know, the Pope and the Queen would go, holy shit, we're losing ground. I mean, it's like it came out on national news. People are not believing in the Bible like they used to. Well, they're waking up to the truth.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I grew up religious. I went through Holy Communion. I was sure glad I didn't end up as an altar boy because the church that I was in, Star of the Sea, some of the kids, after I went to another area, some were assaulted by the pastor. And if a woman's raped, I think she has the right to execute that man, cut off his dick, whatever. You know, don't go, oh, God can forgive. God might forgive, but does a woman have to, or a man? Why do we have to forgive? You know, that's the thing. If we're supposed to have equal rights, it's supposed to be equal rights. Oh, that's right. Everybody says equal rights, but then they want to put their opinion in or their own decisions into that right. Because if you don't sit there and go by my way, you're not entitled to have the right. Equal rights mean I could go through the woods, shouldn't be harassed by nobody. Okay? I mean, in the state of Oregon, they're trying to close down another 10 million acres, folks, of land to sell it to, Britain. And you people go along with this stuff. They're shutting down public land like crazy. It's like the Bundy Ranch, and it's like what gets to me about that. How come you people, when some of these people have been personally involved, I'm personally with them, and I've given them information. Me and several other people provided knowledge and written facts to file on them, and they said, our attorney says we can't file that. Oh, that's right. Your attorney works for the British government, that works for the court system, that is dictating to you, but they're charging you $75,000 to handle this. Just an opening case, because they're looking at about $500,000 for the case. So this is how the British government is rape, robbing, and depleting us from the inside out. You know, I love it when you call up. It's like the state attorney general. I'm serving the criminal charges dealing with Kate Brown, and the state attorney general's office told me, well, you need to talk to an attorney about that. That's why I'm finishing up my other one here. And I'll email that to you. You have my message. Send me your email, Gerard, and I'll send you what I just wrote on the cops.
Okay.
Okay, and then when I get done with the one on the courts, because I can prove all this stuff right to the Roman Catholic Church, right through Christianity, right through the whole structure of the court system, and how they dictate for your rights to travel by administrative rules of the court to tell you how to live. And I produce the stuff where the federal law says this, that, and the other thing, and then people go, well, the judge says that they don't go by this. Why are you going back to the judge? How come you didn't file the criminal charges on the judge? How come you didn't file this in the other arenas? Well, they said I had to do it this way, and I'm going, okay, so you do what Mommy tells you. Mommy says jump off the bridge, so you jump off the bridge.
Right.
You can't think further than that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's like one of those. It's like we are really realistically living this. It's like kids today. You try to talk to the kids, teenagers, and it's like, well, I don't have time for that. My video game is more important.
Yeah. No kidding.
So plugged in, they're not even in reality. They don't even know what a rose smells like. But they know what the freshener in a can smells like, but they don't know what a real rose smells like.
Hmm.
Of course, you know how we were taught about that. Sometimes you got to stop and smell the roses.
Yep.
It didn't say stop and smell an aerosol can.
Right. Didn't have many of them when we were young.
No, they didn't. Usually that came water sitting outside in a squirt bottle all day.
Yep.
You know? But we've got to be such a throwaway country. You know, what can we do now? And we're always chasing the tail of the cat. And the thing is, the cat has no tail, and we don't even know where we're going, but we're going and just spinning our wheels and chasing we don't know what. That is the saddest part. We don't know what we're chasing half the times. You know, I wish these guys really do successful luck what they're doing on the recall with Kate Brown. It's like, you know, and I'm trying to tell them, you got to file criminal charges. I was telling everybody this 10 years ago. You know, 2000 and 2005 and 6 and 8, you know. I mean, shit, they tried to beat me to death a couple times. I went from since 2000, I went from 2 blown discs to a total of 19 out of 24 discs in your body. Blown. I have 5 in the spinal cord. They're talking about surgeries again.
Oh, good Lord.
Okay? I have a crushed back. You know, and this guy is going, well, why weren't you there for me? You know, they tried to beat me to death. They had me trying to put me in federal prison because I was opening up the door on the stuff that we did on the judge, too. And you didn't comprehend how much stuff I really had going because all the guy would do is listening to what he had going, and he wouldn't open his mind to combine with each other. It was all about what he was doing. You know, it's like, you know, that's the one thing, at least with your brother, you know, we have worked tandem on this stuff. We listened and written things to each other, and it wasn't about one or the other. We could actually put the stuff together where it wasn't an argument or a conflict of interest.
Right.
You know? I mean, it's like the whole thing with the birth structure. It even says in the Bible, until the child sees the light. Mm-hmm. What do you think our forefathers put that in? You know, the law says that until the child's born, it's not alive. Because it doesn't see the light until it's born. You know, that's what everybody wants to interpret things the way they want to interpret it, and they're acting like lawyers. Then they get bitchy and pissed off at lawyers when they go to court. Yeah, you're right. I laugh at it too, because it's like, how can you bitch at the same thing you're bitching at when they're doing the same thing that you're doing, but then again, you're not supposed to do it, but it's your right under the Constitution to have your opinion, but it's not your right to respect anybody else. And then you wonder why you don't get respect when you go to court. Yeah, it's just crazy. I know. Trust me, I know. Like the other day, I'm out there, and my neighbor's dogs are running around the neighborhood. You know, all the dogs in the community come to my house. Dogs know they're safe at my house. Most animals do come to my house. They know they're safe. Anyhow, these dogs are running around apparently downtown, the cop was saying, and it's like, so I greet them, and the dogs come up running to me. They're panting and, you know, greeting me. The owner drives up behind them, you know, I got my dog with me, and so we're petting the dogs. And the owner comes up, next thing you know, here comes the cop. And he's going, whose dogs are those? I said, don't worry about them, I got them under control. And he goes, what do you mean, Ed? I said, I've got them under control, I'm petting them. There's no danger here. Of course, what does Oregon State leash law say? So long as you have the dog under your control. Doesn't say it has to be on a leash. Doesn't say it has to be your dog. It just says, so long as the dog is under control. The dog sits when I tell him to sit. I'm petting the dog. He wants attention. I got him under control.
Is that an actual law, Ed?
Yes, it is. It's administrative rules. Thank you. Administrative rules. That's like in the state of Oregon, 2006, they tried to eliminate Rottweilers and Pit Bulls in the state of Oregon. Okay, and then I go over to my neighbor's, I was at somebody's house, and I was too close to the fence. My hand went over the fence. Their Rottweiler almost crushed my hand. I mean, believe me, I had the teeth marks literally punctured through my fingers.
Ooh.
Yeah, oh, trust me, it was a painful thing for a month. Oh, my God, every time I moved my hand, it was painful. And so they tried to pass this law that said they wanted to eliminate pit bulls and Rottweilers from the state. And I'm like, no, I went to the bill, and I said, no, you can't do that. And they're going, and I raised up my hand. My hand had a big gauze bandage, and I took the gauze off my hand in front of the House and Senate. And I took the whole thing up, and I said, you could see my hand was literally just punctured and pussy and, very disgusting, And I took it right off, and I said, I want you to see this. And I still got damage in my hand, but my hand moves. I still got punctures of the teeth through the back of my hand, too. The mark's still in my hand, the puncture marks. But I can still move my hand, not 100%. I've got about 86% of the movement of my hand. I only lost part of it. But it was like, that was my fault because I went across the fence of the border of the animal's reach.
Right.
All right, so I'm liable. And then the other point is, there was another issue that I knew about that I stood up for a guy in my community. A 7-year-old girl walks into a stranger's home. Opens the door, walks in, the pit bull just attacks the kid, bit her back. And then, then they want to go kill the dog because a girl walked in, even though she was 7, I get that. But it's the parent's responsibility. They didn't teach the kid not to go walk into somebody else's home.
Right.
And then the Democrats are going, well, the dog needs to be executed. We can't have this. Excuse me. We're not in a foreign country, and if you're not responsible for your children, I think that we need to pick them up. And that's exactly what I told the county commissioners. And then they start going, we're not talking about my children. I said, oh, yes, we are. You want equal rights, it's equal rights. They didn't like that. But, that's what I'm saying. You got to think about these things when you're talking, and it's like, I used to, when I was a bodyguard, I used to sit there and I used to watch who came in with guns in their clothes and in their pants. You could see it. You could tell the way a man or a woman walks and the way they're walking with a firearm or an arm with them. It's reading body language. It's like reading body language for dogs and cats. You can read body language. It's keeping your mind open. It's like I had one relationship with a girl once in my life. We used to sit there and go downtown in the big cities, and we used to have competitions about how we could read people, tell what their job is and what they do just by their body language, and we would stop and ask them, hey, what about this or that? And, of course, people are sometimes very gullible. They tell you anything, they just tell you because that's how they're programmed. So we had fun with that. So, we actually had a score count we used to keep on that. And so we were pretty much even, But it's like people don't comprehend and realize that, how severe a lot of this stuff is in our, country. I don't like society because that's a British term. Society was actually created when, what was the day that they had the, plague. The plague of the society. The British terminology came from society word from the Brits. So, and that's the whole point, learning where these words come from, how they came from, how they're used, who uses them. We really, in this country, do not sit and read and study the structure. It's like, I'm pissed off like most people are. They took cursive out of school. I like cussing. I don't like cussing, where you're using it on, public per se, where you're saying nasty words, because we're supposed to be somewhat respectful instead of being, I don't want to say trashy, but it's the way we've been programmed by TV. Most people didn't get into that structure of doing those type of things until later in life. That's the point. We didn't get into that until later in life. Most of us, when we sit there and we get told about all the abuse on the colored men and women, because, sometimes people take black of offensive. And if you use the other word where people take offenses, if you actually read what real history, what that word really means compared to what has been turned into a derogatory structure instead of the purpose of the way the word really means. But that's the point. They change words. I remember when I used to say, what was the word I used to say all the time growing up? Ain't. It ain't this. It ain't that. My mother used to cuss me out all the time. You can't use that word. It ain't in the dictionary.
Yep. It ain't a word, you can't say it.
Huh?
It ain't a word, you can't say it.
Right. So then all of a sudden, ain't became in a dictionary. What's the dictionary now, don't you?
Yeah.
So when it came in the dictionary, I'm like, oh, yeah, I can use this now. And I started using it. My mom started cussing at me again. I'm like, oh, no, I brought the dictionary to her.
Here it is, right in the dictionary.
And then she said, oh, God damn it. And I'm like, oh, you're telling me I can't use that word. How come you can?
Yeah, right.
So, those are the things that, I'll turn the floor. If anybody wants to speak up, you can chime up anytime, too. But, it's like stepping back out, learning what's going on. Stop judging, because, see, when we're judging, we're not listening. We're not even listening to ourselves. We're too busy judging, okay? And if you want to be a judge, try to get a job as a judge. Go do it. Go be it. Those things are real, but, with a judge, you have to be responsible.
Yeah.
I got a friend that we've had a few conflicts of interest. He's finally getting the birth certificate deal. Stop signing your rights over at the hospital to the doctors and stuff. You're getting it. Oh, now somebody's got a Facebook sign, in certificate of live birth and birth certificates at local hospitals. Yes, I agree with that. I think we have people that have been possibly on the line who know how to do that. You start filing your rights, you get respect. You don't file your child with the state. You don't get the state benefits, what they call benefits, until we get this thing hammered out, because it's supposed to be rights, not privileges. Now we got some politician now dealing with Muslims saying whites need not apply for government jobs. It's like, this is what gets to me. Another black woman brought up mind control who has no knowledge of the real world. I love it when people put up what I post up, then they go try to repost somebody else's post, but that's okay. Wisconsin, a company had passed their administrative rules. If you don't put a chip in your body, you will not work for the company anymore. And everybody goes along with it. Oh, I'm not going to go work there. But you're not protesting. You're not defending your neighbor. You're not defending your country, because you don't give a fuck about your country. Oh, I love this one. Oh, I got to put this on my wall. New Orleans prosecutor drops a joint in the courtroom in front of the cops. Okay, now, folks, if you do the research realistically of the 1937 Marijuana Act, and if you actually read it, marijuana, or hemp, is lawful in all 48 states. The reason why they asked you to bring marijuana into the federal courthouse to get your federal stamp, because you brought it into the British government, and you said that I'm doing what I have a right to, and I want to turn it into a privilege instead of having my right. I want to make this a privilege instead of a Constitution right. Okay, that's what I'm saying with the instruments. Like when me and your brother have written on these things, especially with the Constitution of lawful and legal. legal citizenship versus lawful bloodline. And if people start autographing this stuff, putting it in the courtrooms, what we have already filed and put in, what me and Dave have filed on our birth certificate structure and filed it, because we filed it with the House and Senate. Nobody responded. We filed it with the state recorder record of birth certificates and everything. And I heard a couple feedbacks from the back door that people were panicking. You know, they were panicking what we filed. But the thing is why aren't people doing this? Why aren't they standing up? And by the way, if you're going to fast food restaurants, they have proven that all the ice in fast food restaurants contain flesh-eating bacteria. They can't poison you one way, they're doing it the other. This is real what's going on. Of course, I don't like eating at fast food because 99% of them I won't eat. Mainly McDonald's and like Taco Bell and stuff. It's cadaver meat. Watch the movie Soul Green sometime. We are living it.
And
yeah, go ahead.
It's also been confirmed that a lot of the main chains have some of the names are like Starbucks, Burger King, and a few others have had confirmed fecal matter in their food all over the chain.
Oh yeah. And not only that, some of their animals is like McDonald's. The only reason why they get away with calling their meat 100% beef because the company that makes their beef is 100% beef of what they say it is. Okay? And the other point is that 10% of the actual hamburger is real beef. 90% is whatever else they put in it. You know? And then this lady gets murdered in Minneapolis. And I mean murdered. She was murdered by a Muslim cop. And I actually served the indictment on that cop to the company. I called the company up, the Minneapolis Police Department. And I said, this paperwork that I sent you on the lawful and legal structure and the way the cops are, and the cops are rent-a-cops and how they work as executioners and all that, I sent that to their division. And I told them and I basically wrote in that the man shall be charged for murder. He murdered the woman in cold blood. I know it. I've been in the industry. Rent-a-cops, professional bodyguards, they're all cops. City cops are the same thing as a rent-a-cop. They're no different. The sheriff deputy is a rent-a-cop. He is not a sheriff. He is a deputy. That's a rent-a-cop. And technically, when you go back in real history, deputies were never real paid. Deputies and sheriffs didn't even start until, what was that? Blazing Saddles. 1878. That's when they decided to do deputies. So, and prior to that, there was no such thing as deputy or law enforcement in this country. The only law enforcement was the United States Marshal that was founded by George Washington, and their stuff mainly was to go after deserters and, immigration that offended our country. Back then, if you were an immigrant that came across the border, you didn't get a trial, you got shot. So it's like coming into my house. I don't sit there and call the cops and go, oh, the guy's got a gun on me. I don't know what he's going to do. You come in my house, I'll just shoot you. I'm ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not playing games. I sleep with them. You know, because I don't know who to expect. You know, I mean, even when I was in a relationship, it was always that close to me. And then it's interesting, this poor guy, and I don't know if I want to get involved in it, man is ordered to pay $65,000 in child support for a kid who isn't his. This is what gets to me. You know, but would the guy go out and learn this stuff? Oh, no, I need to hire an attorney. I need to go out and do this. Let me tell you, you know, I mean, it was like I went through this stuff, a friend of mine sent me this message, and I'm glad he's finally catching on. You know, I wish he would be listening, because, you know, But it was like the things that were going on, you know. Anyhow, I want to get back to where I was going on this deal with this poor sap that was nailed with this thing. You know, oh, that's right. Oh, now in Oregon, they're saying that the Oregon sex child ring for Social Security, disability, and the state is being uncovered for $5,000 a night. I'm posting that and sharing that right now. Sorry to say, Dave, straight, you know, I already knew this. We already sat there and did this. We will expose this. 2000 and 2002, the Republican Party exposed this. We were ordered by the Democratic Party and the news media and the state attorney general to shut up, and the news media shut us up because if you own the news media, you print what you're going to print. You know, that's the thing. If people cause about false news, well, the Democrats lie. So do Republicans. And because see, the one thing, when I ran for office, that was the one thing. I never asked for money. You know, I asked for help because right now they're going after trying to throw me off my land, and I'm dealing with things on that one. You know, but I tell people, if you want to help pay my electricity or my water bill, you know, that is the one thing. Then that way I'm not sitting there taking a handout. I'm not a 501c. You know, oh God, Muslims are trying to take over the swimming pools in our country, saying that they have a right to do it their way. I mean, that's what gets to me. Where the hell are Americans? And they go, oh, well, they have a right. No, they don't have a right. This is America country. They come in our country, they go by our rules. You come to my land, you live by my rules, my land. If you want to smoke a joint, smoke a joint. You want to have a beer, smoke a joint, have a beer. I don't give a shit. Okay? But you don't sit there and make an ass out of yourself on my land and bring the public attention to us because you are not a responsible adult. You do that, I'll probably slug you in the face and knock you on your ass, male or female. I don't play that game. But if you want to smoke a joint, I don't give a shit. You know, because, you know, that doesn't hurt nobody. See, that's the point. We don't comprehend what is right and wrong. You know, I get disturbed when I see this stuff, you know, that women's rights and all this. If you're a woman, it's your body to have a right to. Okay, if the man picked the wrong woman to have a child with a woman, shit happens. I've done it myself. I was a responsible man and said, oh, I made the dumbass. I was the dumbass. I didn't do it to somebody else. I did it to me. Isn't that called personal responsibility? You know? See, that's the thing. That's why I'm bringing up the structure dealing with a baby, what the baby does. Okay? It's not born until it sees the light. We get talked all this because we got Planned Parenthood and everybody's arguing going, oh, go ahead. Somebody was saying something? Okay. You know, I love this. Loretta Lynch is pleading the fifth. Excuse me, public employees cannot plead the fifth. You have no rights. You are a public servant, people. Wake the hell up. And this is where the public, the people in the audience should say, is she a public servant or not? And if she's a public servant, she has no rights because she works for us. She has to be honorable. She doesn't honor her oath of office. I insist that she be arrested and charged with conspiracy and fraud to the American people. Last time I did that in a public meeting, the guy resigned and left the country. Of course, I almost got shot after that, too. But, you know, I mean, it's like comprehending what's going on compared to what we think is going on. You know, I always have fun with the Native Indians that don't comprehend what the law is. They don't even comprehend Native lawful bloodline American or the Great Spirit, or they don't comprehend the Great Spirit and Mother Earth, but they'll comprehend the damn Bible. You know, that's the other point. You know, oh, the Bible says this, the Bible says that. The Bible, tell me where the Bible gives somebody rights. It doesn't. It doesn't give, the Bible gives no man or woman rights. And it's true, it doesn't give anybody rights. The Constitution gives you rights. You know, sometimes why don't you, people want to argue with the 14th Amendment, and I prove what the 14th Amendment is. You know? Oh, I got to put this up. They're putting this stuff up dealing with the births on the damn internet, and I got to put this up with people in Oregon. I get so sick and tired of these people whining because they don't comprehend the reality of the world. You know, that's the thing that gets to me. People don't want to sit there and, but they want to have their rights. They don't want you to come in their home. They don't want you to tell them how to live. That's what gets to me. But you're willing to tell somebody else how to live. That's the thing that I just can't fathom that. Because when you do that, how can you tell somebody else how to live when you're not expressing your own rights to live? That's the thing. It's just amazing, And like the other thing, see, I'm blessed in some regards because I do appreciate, because I do have, I know for a fact I got a couple federal people that monitor the sites. I've got people that monitor what I do. I am blessed on that in the federal department. Everything I do, and including what I'm emailing you guys tonight, the ones that sent me your emails, the stuff I wrote on Cape Brown and the stuff I wrote on the police department, have been emailed and filed with the Marshals Department. They have been emailed with the FBI, the local recorder. The indictment I did on Cape Brown was filed in the local court clerk. I've got to call the federal or the state clerk tomorrow and ask them where the filing is. So, this is the point, is, see, get this stuff filing. See, it's all about paperwork. When it really comes down to it, it's all about paperwork. And then the other point, people don't realize the structure was medical until 1973. 1973, you couldn't charge for medical because it was already prepaid. Oh, that's right, prepaid $192. And actually, it was that way. And then in 1973, type it in. I put it up on my wall, but I don't have time to go backtrack right now. But 1973 is when they privatized the medical. When you privatize the government, you are saying that you, the people, don't own it anymore. That's exactly what it means. It says you don't want responsibility. You can't handle life. Exactly what it means. Really, that's exactly what it means. When you register your child, you give up the rights to your child to the state corporation. And not only that, you can type in State Senator Gary George, CPS. He was telling everybody this on the internet in Senate and House hearings back in 2000. We were both involved in exposing this in 2000. And we were being attacked. They really went after the Republican Party, and then all of a sudden in Oregon, the Republican Party is being so damn attacked, and everybody's going along with it because they don't comprehend what life is really about, and they want to go along with the structure. Because it makes me look good because everybody else is doing it. And that's what gets to me. People do stuff without thinking, and they just react because it sounds good. It looks good. People are going through it. And I love this too, because under what I've quoted, dealing with human being and the life structure, even it says it, like I said, in the Bible, and it goes through the Constitution. And that's the point, That is the one beauty we have. Once we totally lost that, you have no freedom. You have no rights. You could be thrown into court. It's like I'm dealing with that right now. What do they call that? The Ehrenberg trials, Cops say, I can get away with it because it's my job. You know? That's the point. We're dealing with that. And it is interesting we live like that. You know, so anyhow, it's about 7:30. Does anybody else got something they would like to bring onto the table before we wrap this up? Because actually I'm thinking about I'd like to go build this other birdhouse before it gets dark, and it shouldn't take me that long to build a birdhouse, cut it up, and put it together. So would anybody else like to bring something else in, and I'll get back to a couple of the other people's questions because we didn't want to get in dragging it up. But you got to start doing research too. When people give you stuff, you've got to sit there and do this stuff. I don't have time to take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours to do your stuff. You have to start opening your mind to doing this. You know? You know, that's the point. You've got to start doing it and open your mind and start learning. You know?
Hey, Ed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I said before, I put the section 208, 42 USC, and I put it in through a a text-to-speech reader, and I put it on the channel and let everybody know about it. And I got a couple comments on it, and people don't really believe that this actually is the way it's fact. That they don't believe it. It's
well, but see, this is what I've been trying to. This is what we've had some disagreements too over time too. I tell you what's going on. People have their beliefs, and they don't want to know the truth.
right. That's true. They've been sheltered.
You know, no, they've been wrongfully educated. You know, it's like Gerard was talking about. Oh, you know, so a lot of people draw up by religion. That's all that they were taught when they grew up.
And one more thing I'd like to bring up is there is a major problem in this country, and it's called debt, and everybody's in it. There's not enough money to go around.
Oh, that's full of shit. There's so much money to go around. The debt is caused. I don't have credit cards. I don't have debt.
Well,
I've never gotten debt.
I like what I'm trying to say is everybody wants money, and everybody's going to jump at the first thing that they get. They don't want to be patient and let us bring out the truth when it.
Let them do that. If they go to jail, that's their part. They're making that.
Well, all right. Well, that's
you
all
know, you can't save people who are going down with a sinking ship. If they don't want to, it's like the movie called The Operator. If you ever see the movie The Operator, it's a great movie when you really watch it 2 or 3 times to comprehend it. But the story that goes in, and I love it. You know, I love the movie where it says, you know, the river's rising, and you know the guy walks, you know, floats by in a boat and says, "Jump in, I'll save you." And he goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. God's gonna save me. Don't worry about it. God's gonna save me." And so he leaves, and another guy floats by in another boat, and the river's gone up another 3 feet. He's climbing up the tree. The guy says, jump in, we'll save you. And he goes, "Oh, no, don't worry about it. God's going to save me. God's going to save me." And the river rises up more than that because it's still flooding. And, you know, another boat comes along, and all of a sudden, you know, the people say, jump in, we'll save you. And the river's rising. And he's going, "Oh, no, God's going to save me. So the river's getting up to the top of the tree, and the helicopter flies by and drops a bucket down to him. And he's going to the helicopter driver, waving at him. Don't worry about it. God's going to save me. God's got it in his power." Then after a bit, he gets washed off the tree. He drowns. He goes to heaven. And he goes, "God, why did you save me? I waited for you." He goes, "I sent you 3 boats and a helicopter. Are you that stupid?"
Story.
You know, that's the point. We live that. You know, people ask for signs. You get the signs. That means you have to be responsible too. You know, that is the point. We have to be responsible. You know? You know, so, you know, that's the main point. You know, I think I will end with that one. Because we've got to teach responsibility not only to ourselves and our children. You know, maybe some of this stuff we can teach to the grandchildren. We watch the comic movies. There are very good historical or history movies that are made in comic strips. You know, like 1871, the bank deal that is done explains the banking structure. You know, I mean, those are things that people need to watch. You know, it does help when we do that and educate the kids. It's up to us to do that. It's not up to the kids to educate us. We're supposed to be smarter than them. It's like people sit there and things happen to a kid that goes on in life, and, you know, we're supposed to, when you see somebody that is not as intelligent as you know, I've seen a lot of people that took care of their elders or their mentally retarded children. Then they started stealing the children's money. You know, they started stealing the children's money, not providing for the kids, and they're going, well, I'm supposed to be responsible, but they're out there doing or partying on the money or doing something else they shouldn't be doing. You know, they're supposed to be providing food for the children. Hey, yeah, you might have to live off a part of that food. That's understandable. That happens. But you're not supposed to sit there and go party on it. You know, that is the point that we've got to start putting things together in reality and taking care of each other. I mean, I remember the days when the churches used to be open and took care of homeless people. Now today, the churches don't do nothing. They don't even grow food. I remember growing up in the 70s where some schools still actually grew food, and then all of a sudden it became, under FDA regulations, it became a crime to grow food. You know? So that's the point, you know, that to deal with this stuff. You know, I'm getting ready to post this on this lady's site because she's bringing up the point, 3 months of just pregnant does not give somebody the right to have an abortion. Well, I know, that's my quote. She's going off of my quote, but I know I'm entitled to my opinion. My opinion is like shitty diapers, need to be changed. But I'm entitled by the Constitution to my free speech right of opinion. But under free speech and religious, I cannot tell somebody else their religion belief and tell them how to live. If they want a pregnancy, an abortion, if they want to believe in whatever they want to believe, so long as there's no personal or body damage to another, that's right. If people say, well, if she's pregnant, that's damage to that other because the other is in her. It's a parasite growing in her. It's her body. We can't dictate to her how to live. You know, because if you dictate to that to a woman how to live, she's going to come in and tell you how to live. She's not going to clean your house anymore. She's going to terrorize you. So, do you want a clean house, or do you want to have respect for the woman? Oh, shit, isn't that a dirty way I played that one? But, you know, it's the way we look at things. You know, it is looking at the structure of things and how to come by things. It is called honor and being honorable with one another. You know, so, I mean, I love it. I put this stuff up, you know, people go after me on religion. And I put this stuff up, you know, the Pope's kissing baby Jesus's, you know, personal parts. And everybody goes, oh, but then they accept child rape. And then they go, oh, that shouldn't happen. But it's okay if the Pope does it. You know, they don't go after the Pope. They don't stand up for the child. And then they want to know, oh, we're not supposed to abort children, so we're going to bring them into hell. That's the other point, you know. So, you know. So, but anyhow, if anybody else would like to say something, I'm about ready to call it a night, so I get a couple other projects done.
Yeah, I'll say something. One more something.
Okay.
I see you're posting as me in Revolution News and Information.
Oh, yeah, I did that on a couple posts. I didn't realize it until afterwards because somehow it changed as you.
Yeah.
So I didn't think you were going to bitch because of the way I posted.
No, I'm not. Trust me, I love it. I love it.
So, but I mean, I just did that, and it was like, that just happened, and I said, I'm not going back. And it was lawful news, so what the hell?
Right?
It's like right now, I'm posting this up, where the Pope is kissing baby Jesus, and this lady's going, oh, so women shouldn't have abortion no matter what, and then you're going to bring them into this children in the living hell to be raped?
Also, if there's anything that you want converted from text to speech, send it to me on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
On my one I usually use.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right now, I'm off on other thoughts too because I got too many on my mind to think right now.
All right, Ed. Well, let's beat it.
So anyhow, seeing that we're basically going to wrap it up, I'd like to thank everybody. Some questions got answered, but some have to work a little harder. Some have to think a little harder, not being disrespectful. But that's the point, that we have to sit there and start doing this stuff. So that is the one thing that we need to, think about different things going on. Bring up these points, Next week, let's try to get more people involved in this, because if you got a case, we want to start getting people into autographing and working with each other. Now you have witnesses. We can put your case up. People can start reading your case, okay? But you have to be honest. And I don't want opinions. I go by fact. Fact only. Otherwise, the rest of it's bullshit. Emotions, compassion. I have compassion. Emotions, I don't have any. Women killed that. I mean, I've had women where I went around the block doing stuff, and all I got was bitten in the butt. So I learned the hard way. I live in a fantasy maybe, but then I come to reality. Well, they have to prove it. So it's one of those things. So anyhow, me and Dave are not attorneys. We are not lawyers. We do our education. All of our education is self-education, self-taught. We've been around the block. We're still riding on the block on the surfboard or skateboard. We're still going around the block and enjoying it. And then when you get into people who want to argue, remember 1 U.S.C. Code 8. Person, human being, child, individual, as included born alive infant. If they are not alive, they don't live. You can't tell somebody how to live. And a woman's pregnant and you say, oh, I have the right to tell you to live. No, you're telling a woman her religious belief. You are not telling the woman that her rights are secured. You're not telling a woman you're securing her rights. You're not telling a woman you love and believe in her. You're telling a woman you have no trust in her. Be realistic. That's the whole point. We're supposed to be honest. Where's the honesty? I get tired of people telling me, oh, God is there, or God's going to do this, and I keep telling them, show me God. I haven't seen God. Please show me where God is. That's the thing. It's like, with this one guy put up a comment, I love this one. Loretta Lynn says, oh, I have the immunity of the Fifth Amendment. Go right to the gallows. You're a servant. You don't have the right to play this psychological game as a former state attorney general of the country. You're supposed to protect the Constitution, not the criminals that are rape, robbing, and pillaging our children. But this is the one thing that gets to me. People protect the rapers. People protect the murderers. People protect it. So, but anyhow, with the grace of the Great Spirit and Mother Earth, because without Mother, we don't have life. Without Father, we don't have, and Mother, we don't have food. Without the Creator, none of us would exist. I don't go totally, everybody knows, I believe, you have a right to your belief in your Bible, your structure. My Bible is the Constitution. My Bible is what I see out there, that I see with my eyes, the trees, the dirt, the food. To me, that is life. That is living. So that is the point, and, it's like, I love these people go, oh, God is going to be there to save. Well, I haven't seen God, I haven't seen God save anybody. I haven't seen that. Well, I can't say that. I've done that where I prayed to the Great Spirit when I've been medically down, when I've had heart attacks, been shot, stabbed, a few other things. We all been through things like that in life. But also, too, there has to be a Creator. I mean, I almost fell 3 stories to, could have been my death one time. And I swear to God, the platform I was working at literally went out underneath me. I still don't know how I got from that platform that fell 3 stories to the other platform that was 4 feet away from me. And I was like that in a flash. And I watched everything that was just standing on hit the floor then I could see I was on the other side. So to me, that was a miracle. I can't question some things like that, but I look at it. The Great Spirit had plans for me, and I guess the plans is what I've been writing and what I'm doing. So it's just one of those things in life, So anyhow, may you all be blessed. Have a wonderful evening, and also, too, if we don't start looking at things and working with each other and opening up our minds and start answering our own questions, keep our mind open. I don't give a damn if you smoke dope. You can smoke all the dope in the world and keep your mind open, but it's mind over matter. If it minds, it matters. If it don't mind, it don't matter. So if it matters to you, you'll pay attention. It's really that simple. I've been on those things where, you're going to have a pint or a fifth of booze and you can't drive. And I've been through those so-called tests from the system. And they're going, oh, you're just a special case. You're just a special case. We don't know how you do it, but everybody else did what you just did. And I said, it's your program. You wrote it. I came here and volunteered. I proved it. What's your point? Well, you're a special case. And I said, mind over matter. If it minds, it matters. I used to go out drinking with the police chiefs in the towns and stuff like this. District attorneys and attorneys years ago. And, I'd drive them home. And they finally started looking at me going, how the hell are you driving me home when you drank the same amount I did? And I can't barely stand up. And how come you're still walking? Mind over matters. The mind that matters. If it don't mind, it don't matter. And they used to tell me, would you quit saying that to me? And I said, no, it's called responsibility as having mind, because if I got to the point where I wouldn't do that and take the responsibility, because I'd tell you right off the bat, I wouldn't put my life in my hands being stupid. It's called being responsible, and that's the point. I've been through the points, of certain things where I wasn't responsible. I learned from the points that I did make stupid mistakes to become responsible. I learned my teeter points where once I hit to a teeter point, I learned how to say that was it. Then I learned how to cope with my body. And so it is, looking at these things and being responsible and dealing with the things. So anyhow, I appreciate everybody's time this evening and enjoying being with us. And, so we do look forward to you being with us next week. And we're going to be getting out some more evidence. I'll have the other filing publicized next week. Ask me for what I'm doing on the cops and stuff. You can read the whole structure on the cops. It is a factual truth. And then I will be finishing up the structure on the court systems, how it works from the Vatican to the Queen of England, to the federal courts, to the state courts, to the county courts, to the city courts, back to the Vatican, and how the Vatican... and back to the Queen of England, where the money goes, and how the money from the Queen of England goes back to the churches. So, and this is the point. When you donate, everybody says, oh, taxes pays for the roads. No, it don't. Gas tax pays for the roads. oh, we pay for the homeless and we got to do this for the taxes. No, when you buy food, it's in the food tax. Okay? Then they say, oh, we have a right to tax commerce. Well, you're only allowed to tax commerce. You're not allowed to tax commerce in and out of states so long as you're lawful. It's like read the real law, not what we're taught to believe. So, anyhow, I do appreciate your time, and may the Great Spirit bless you all. And why don't you call me, Gerald, before I go outside? Because once I get outside, I'm going to be out there for a little bit before dark. Because I think I got like 40 minutes before dark. So with that, I end it, and why don't we end with our new production song that we borrowed from Red Skelton, because like I said, Red Skelton is and was an immigrant. He came to this country and caught the facts that you have to live by our laws, our country, pay the taxes. He used to joke about that stuff in his routine, and if you actually watch his old routine, he used to joke about the structure of this country of being an immigrant, and nobody paid attention. I remember watching a lot of this stuff growing up, and I caught it when I was a kid. I'm just surprised people didn't get it. So anyhow, may the Great Spirit walk with you and protect you.
Well, I remember a teacher that I had. Now, I went through the 7th grade. I went to the 7th grade. I left home when I was 10 years old because I was hungry. And I used to, this is true. I work in the summer and I go to school in the winter. But I had this one teacher. He was the principal of the Harrison School in Vincennes, Indiana. To me, this was the greatest teacher, a real sage of my time, anyhow. He had such wisdom. And we were all reciting the Pledge of Allegiance one day. And he walked over, this little old teacher, Mr. Laswell was his name. Mr. Laswell, he says, he says, I've been listening to you boys and girls recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester, and it seems as though it's becoming monotonous to you. If I may I recite it and try to explain to you the meaning of each word. I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge, dedicate all of my worldly goods to give without self-pity, allegiance, my love and my devotion to the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom. Wherever she waves, there's respect, because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts freedom is everybody's job. United. That means that we have all come together. States, individual communities that have united into 48 great states. 48 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose. All divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common purpose, and that's love for country. And to the republic, a state in which sovereign power is invested in representatives chosen by the people to govern. And government is the people, and it's from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of power to live one's own life without threats, fear, or some sort of retaliation. And justice, the principle or qualities of dealing fairly with others. For all, which means, boys and girls, it's as much your country as it is mine. And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
To the disclaimers by Davidlee Buess and Edward Johnston. It is 1947 or 7:47 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it is Monday, July 24th, 2017. Thank you very much for listening and being a part of this.
This session is no longer being recorded.